This podcast is brought to you in part by P&P Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at their 2 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Let's get started.
Everybody, and welcome to this week's bonus stage podcast. This is episode number 34, recording this on Friday, June 7th, 2013, the week before E3. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, as always, Jeff Ward. Jeff, how's it going?
Hi. It's going good. How about you?
It's going good. It's going good.
It's going good until you read any of the news from the gaming industry, and then it's not very good anymore. And also, I want to put this at the top of the show because I know I swear a lot, and I know that some people listen to the show with their kids around or something, and I don't want them to get mad at me for their kids hearing me swear. I'm going to swear a lot in this episode. I'm just warning you now. I want to put this disclaimer out here at the top of the show. I'm going to be swearing so much when we talk about this Microsoft debacle here. When we get into the news section, I'm going to be swearing like crazy. So understand that, and know that I've warned you thoroughly because I can feel it coming. I'm getting mad already just thinking about it. Oh man.
Yeah.
But this is our E3 prediction show, so we do have a lot of good stuff to talk about as well, and things that we think are going to happen next week. And we haven't really decided on a schedule, but Lloyd and I have pretty much said that for Microsoft and Sony, we're going to do a post wrap up show for those days. So
sure, yeah.
if you're interested in those, come on by.
Yeah, what we're going to do is after all the main keynotes, so Microsoft and Sony, we're going to do a small show kind of covering our thoughts on it and put it up on the main feed and also on the bonus stage feed and probably Nintendo Pulse feed. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Nintendo Pulse yet, but we'll figure that out. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get coverage of all of the main E3 announcements, not the other ones, like not the Ubisoft that happened or Konami was today, and then there's Ubisoft, and we're not going to do all those ones. We're just going to do Nintendo, Sony, and then Microsoft. Nintendo, they're not doing a keynote, but they are doing Nintendo Direct. So I'll be doing a Nintendo one, probably with Stephen Munn, sometime Monday night, I would assume. And we'll get that up on the thing as well. And then depending on how the week goes, any huge announcements, any whatever, I might get just together with some people and just do small little one-off shows. So if you want to check out all the E3 stuff, just head on over to vgpodcast.com or follow me on Twitter at DazMe on Twitter or at VGPod on Twitter. All of the announcements for postings and stuff will come out on both of those 2 channels, and you'll be able to see kind of what the network has to say about E3.
Mm-hmm. And there will be a regular bonus stage on Friday as well. We got some reviews and stuff to do and just talk about, what we've been playing, and I guess do a little bit of an E3 cool down, but we don't want to just go over the same information. We'll do kind of a really quick, here are the big pieces that you need to know, and then we'll talk about other things that have happened if anyone else has decided to open their big fat mouths. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we're gonna cover some of the non press conference news on Friday, but we'll talk about some of the stuff. There's probably going to be lots of news that because stuff kind of trickles out over the week. Like you have the big like show launch. It's like, oh my god, boom, here's the games. But then you have a lot of other kind of closed door meetings that happen all week, and then stuff happens. So yeah, that'll be kind of what it is. So check out vgpodcast.com next week. Gonna have lots of content for you guys. E3 is that magical time of the year. The magical time of the year where I take the week off because I love all the news. And it's even weirder this year because we have Macworld Expo.
Yes, I
starts
forgot
on Monday
that was coming up. Yeah.
So next week is going to be me watching Apple keynotes, Microsoft keynotes, Nintendo Directs, Sony keynotes, different live video feeds from all over the internet. And then UFC is in town on Saturday here. So I'm going to the UFC event on Saturday. So it's just like, it's my ultimate week. Like, there's nothing better that could happen.
Oh, well, and actually, there's two more better things. You've got Animal Crossing coming to you Saturday night.
Yeah.
So you're going to play that through the week.
Yeah.
And then you've got friggin' Last of Us coming out on Friday. So you've like, this is the week, man. I mean, this is the cool down, get the kids out of the house, send them to reform school for a week, and just play some video games and absorb the news.
Kids are in school, so they will be out of the house for the week. So I can do whatever I want during the day, and then they all come home and it's like, oh, hi. Just don't get in my way. I'm trying to play video games in my underwear. It's
Watch
going to be
for Lloyd to beat 12 video games simultaneously in that week.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm going to be covered in Cheeto dust and video game wrappers, like cellophane everywhere.
Better dust to be covered in, quite frankly.
I don't even eat Cheetos, so I don't know why I said that. All right, moving on. Let's get into the Doritos. Yeah, I do eat Doritos every once in a while. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but Doritos I can partake every once in a while. All right, well, let's get into the show. Again, as we said at the start of the show, this podcast and the shows on this network are brought to you in part by P&P Games. So do check them out. They're a local Winnipeg company, but you don't have to be in Winnipeg to support them. If you head on over to pnpgames.com, they have an online store. They sell retro games, they sell current games, they sell systems, they sell tchotchkes of all sorts. Anything to do with video games and video game culture, you can check it out at pnpgames.com. We do thank them for the support, and the review that I'm going to be doing this week is actually brought to you by them as well. So they're doing lots to support the network and the show, and we're trying to do a lot to support them as well.
Yeah. I mean, out of our own wallets as well, because I'm going to be going down there probably a couple times in the next few weeks to buy some games. So, they're going to be getting those kickbacks.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they exist for. They're not a charity. Yeah. They do
Actually,
want to make the money.
I gotta go and pre-order Last of Us. I don't like doing pre-orders anymore, but with the XP card that PNP has, like every time you pre-order on a Wednesday, it's double points, so you get 5,000 per pre-order.
Yeah, $10 off basically if you do it on a Wednesday.
Well, no, it's oh yeah, because it's double points. Yeah, so you get like if you pre-order a game on a Wednesday and then you go and pick it up and buy it, you get $10 off, which is pretty sweet. So that adds up pretty quickly. So I'm gonna have to do that because I'm gonna buy it. I know I'm gonna buy it day one. I just need to get those points. Gotta get those points.
You're scamming our sponsor, Jeff. They're gonna leave us and they're not gonna want to support the show anymore because of your tricky moves.
It's very tricky. I'm playing the system that they built the way they built it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's get into the show. Let's talk about what we've been playing. So, Jeff, although we can't see your face on the video feed, what have you been playing?
I have been playing a couple games this week. The first of which is Max Payne 3. It's a game that I was actually really excited to play, and I put it off for a long time, and I figured, why not? I'll pick it up now when there's like nothing to play. And I have I'm going to be doing a review of this next week. And I have a very interesting opinion of it because I don't like the game, but there's nothing wrong with the game. It's a shooter, third person over the shoulder. The controls are really well done. The voice acting is unbelievable. The kind of post-processing editing that they've done on the cutscenes and the game itself is really cool and really new. The story is pretty interesting. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with the game. It's a Rockstar game. It's of a very high caliber of games, and yet I don't like it at all. I just find it to be boring, to say the least. And like I was telling Lloyd this before the show started, it's weird for me to have a complaint like this because I play so much Call of Duty, but it's just shooting and it's boring. And what I mean by that is usually when you have a game that's just shooting like Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever, Halo, they'll have sections that are on rails. You'll have, some kind of, like a vehicle you have to pilot, or somebody's driving a vehicle and you're on some sort of gun just mowing people down, or they're like big action set pieces where you get to do, really cool stuff other than just shoot. You'll have to like run and jump and do like, some weird parkour thing or a chase sequence.
Sure.
This game doesn't have any of that. It has a couple of times when like Max Payne will like jump off of like some, usually some sort of crazy aerial acrobatic kind of thing where he like jumps off of an awning and slides down and shoots a guy right in the head, like as he has like a hostage, and then he falls into a hot tub. Like that's one of the first things you do in the game. It's pretty cool, but you don't really take that much of an active part in it. So it's just kind of boring. But again, like I said, it's a really well-built game. I just couldn't get into it. So, I'll do my more official review where I talk about the game, what happens in it, and kind of that kind of stuff as we go along for next week. But it's just not, I also won't finish it. I just can't. I don't have the drive to finish it either. So, it'll be kind of a partial review, more of a kind of opinions, I guess, instead of a full review, because I just don't have the drive to continue through it.
Wow.
I've also been playing Minecraft. I've been playing a lot of Minecraft lately, but Tom hasn't been online very much, and when he has, he's been playing this game that I'm going to talk about next. So I wanted to start a new Minecraft world, but I was like, on a 360, I don't know. So I figured there's so much new stuff in the PC version that I haven't that I haven't, experienced. I figured I'm going to open up the PC version. And I'm blown away by how new this game feels. Like, I haven't played Minecraft on the PC in, I don't know, probably 6 months or so, maybe even a year, actually, because the Xbox version came out and Tom's always playing it, so I'm always playing it with him. And there's just, it's a ton of stuff. There's like cats, and I'm like walking around the jungle, and I'm like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? What the hell is that? There's like nuts in the trees, and there's like these cats that you can get, like the wolves, and there's all these new things you can build, and I'm like, well, what the hell is that? I'm saying that left, right, and center, and it's a really cool new experience, and I'm really, really digging it. The only thing that I'm not digging is on the 360. They did a thing with the crafting where it's basically all you have to do is have the items in your inventory. You don't have to put them into the crafting bench like you would on the PC version. They kind of do it for you. You just select it and just hit a button and you can make them.
Yeah, it's newbie mode for the console.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think they also did it because if you had to craft everything with the control stick, it would drive you bonkers, and it's just not all that intuitive. So when I went back to the PC, I'm like, how do I build this? Like, I forgot how to build everything, save for, the tools and a bed and, the torches and stuff. So I had my laptop up here, and I'm like, how the hell do you build that? How do you build that? I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, oh, geez. But it's like rediscovering the game again. And you don't have the limitations of the world ending like you do in the Xbox 360 version. There's always new things to explore and new places to go. So I'm having a ton of fun, and I can't believe how good this game is still to this day, how well it's held up. If you don't have Minecraft, guys, you have to get it because it is really, really fantastic. It's one of the best video games, in my opinion, that's ever been made. That's how much I love it. Don't like to work in absolutes. But I love it that much. I really do feel that strongly about it. The last thing I'm playing is State of Decay, and this is I want to call it a ripoff of DayZ, but it's not a ripoff. It is a new game. It has the same kind of ideas and presentation that DayZ has, but it's an Xbox Live Arcade game. I've only been playing the demo. The game is $20, and I'm glad I didn't buy it because from playing the demo, it doesn't feel like it's finished. It feels like it was rushed. It feels like it's maybe halfway. You've got enemies that just blindly rush you all the time. I know they're zombies, but there's like no real pattern or like distinction of why they're attacking you or if they saw you from the bushes. It's kind of a weird thing. They, when you're attacking guys, you're just beating the shit out of them with rakes and bits of wood and stuff like that. And, it's okay, but they do the same thing every time they die. They just go down to the ground and they're dead, and then you can either stomp on their head. It's all things that we've done before so much. And, the character animations look okay. The voices are really bad. Their voices are really annoying. And the game looks really good.
Right.
Nintendo's team is asking how much does it cost? It costs $20, so 1,600 Microsoft points. So it's pretty steep. And that also is something that kind of drives me a little bit bonkers. I think it's priced way too high. It should be $1,200 at best, $15. But that's how they priced it. I think they're doing their Summer of Arcade thing, so all these games are going to be a little bit more expensive than they should be. But yeah, it's not great. It doesn't feel like it's finished. And, Tom really loves it. Him and I kind of had like a little argument. We're texting each other, and I told him, like, I don't think the game's finished. Like, I think it feels really bad. And he was okay with it. He's like, it does have some rough edges. And his contention point was that he would rather support the development team now, even though the game really does have some rough parts, because he's actually really enjoying it. He'd rather support the team now and hope that they do something better in the future with a little bit more polish on it. And I was like,
that's not like, this isn't a charity. You're not
exactly.
You're not handing out food at a soup kitchen. You're buying a product for $20. It should at least be worth what you're paying for it. Yeah,
and that was kind of my argument. Is I didn't really because it's Tom and I, we don't really formulate arguments all that well when we're arguing to each other. We just call each other an idiot or an asshole or something. Yeah, that kind of So it was all in good fun. I mean, he's really enjoying it, so that's great. I just didn't. You know what I think? The thing is, I'm also really tired of zombies. I couldn't give a shit about zombies anymore. I used to like them a lot when I was younger. Read a lot of Max Brooks, and I loved zombie movies and stuff. But they're just the most uninteresting antagonist and villain ever, because they don't do anything. They're mindless, and they're just there to be killed in gaudy ways. And I don't understand why people think they're so cool still. I don't know. Well, it's just not my kind of
everybody goes through cycles. It was vampires for how long? And then now it's zombies. Zombies the new thing. I
actually really want to see World War Z though. That kind of looks okay.
Yeah, I mean it's more zombie stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's more zombies too. But so State of Decay is now available. It has been talked about a lot. I think the reviews are actually pretty favorable, much more favorable than mine would have been had I bought it. But $20 is steep, and when it comes to a downloadable game, you have no way of trading it in. $20, that game better be friggin' good, because I am going to be pissed off if I had to buy it. So play the demo. That's where you'll get a good feel of how the game plays. Play the demo and figure it out for yourself. But I don't think I'll be picking this up unless I'm really desperate or something, or they release a patch that fixes a lot of the issues that the game has.
Right.
Yep. But that's it. What about you? It looks like you got some pretty good stuff on your list here.
Yeah, I've been playing a fair bit. I've been like really, really busy at work, so I've been trying to make my way through Sleeping Dogs, which I didn't actually even put in the show notes, on the PlayStation 3, because it's one of the PlayStation Plus games that came out. Really, really love it. Really, really, really love it. It's open world. It's essentially it's a true crime game. It started out as True Crime Hong Kong, became Sleeping Dogs with new publishers, yada yada yada. But it's everything I wanted of a GTA kind of game. A lot of great exploration, a lot of driving, a lot of shooting, a lot of whatever. Loving the game, but I haven't have enough time to play it because I've just been so busy. So I've been kind of sample gaming, appetizer gaming, as I like to call it. So I've been playing Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D a little bit. I'm into the third or fourth island, just making my way slowly through that game, enjoying it like crazy. Still playing a little bit of Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages on the 3DS. And it's amazing that you can go back to a game that you played like 10, 15 years ago and remember it. Like it's amazing the kind of memory that you have that you don't even notice that you have. You're reconnecting different cells in your brain, and new synapses are firing, and you remember the layout of areas, and it kind of blows me away. I'd started this one because I bought both Oracle of Ages and the other one, which the name is escaping me right now because I'm so exhausted from working so much. It's like I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. Oracle of Seasons is what it is, and because I thought I had originally bought Seasons, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start with the one that I haven't played. Well, no, I actually own Oracle of Ages. I dug it out of a box, and it's like, there it is. So that's why I remember the whole game, because I've played it already. So I started the wrong one, but I'm going to play through this one, get the code, punch it into the other one, and beat that one as well. It's going to take me a while. I'm not going to rush through it, but yeah, that's
it's surprising how big a cartridge of Zelda can be. I mean, on that system, the Game Boy, it's like, I couldn't believe how much game there was there.
It's amazing how long the Game Boy lasted. Like that handheld was around forever, and then the GBA was out, and then the DS. But like I was like, there's no way these games were Game Boy games, and it's like, no, they were, because I bought it on the Game Boy Color, and it's so amazing how good these games are. So I've been playing those, and then I've been getting into a lot of iOS stuff. I picked up Scurvy Scallywags on the iOS. That's Ron Gilbert's new game that he published himself in his new company when he left Double Fine. And it's essentially him and another guy made the game. It's a match 3 puzzle game / RPG. You're basically clearing tiles on a board to get power-ups to defeat bosses. And it's the whole game revolves around you being in a play where you're playing a pirate and you're being attacked by another pirate who's taken the verse, whatever the song, the sea shanty, and ripped it up into different pieces. So you're basically going from island to island to island to get all these pieces, and you have like this director that's like really confused as to why all this stuff is happening. And it's just it's such a weird premise for a game, but the game is really, really fun. It's $1 on the App Store. If you like match 3 games at all, it's worth getting just for that. But it has a really great RPG mechanic where you're leveling up. Your character has health points, and so you basically you fight, and you do that by getting little sword things to build up your power. Your power has to be higher than another guy's power to fight and attack him, and they're just pieces on the board, so you have to basically switch places with them and you get into a fight. If your power is higher than theirs, you win the battle, and then your power goes down. You have to collect more power stuff. When you die, you lose a heart, and you have 3 hearts. If you lose all 3 hearts, then your character is dead, and then you can pay gold, which you get from matching things in the game, to basically bring your character back to life. If you don't have gold, then your character dies, and you start at level 1 with that character, or you start again with that character at the start of the game. But you keep all your things that you've unlocked and everything like that. So the game gets progressively easier as you go and die. It's almost like a roguelike where you're kind of going as far as you can to get stuff and then go back. More like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or whatever, that type of roguelike. Really, really interesting game. I'm having so much fun with it. Sinister in the chat room's asking what we're talking about. It's Scurvy Scallywags on the iOS App Store, either the iPad or iPhone. You can play it on either one. So I've been playing a lot of that, and also picked up Gangstar Vegas. That's Gameloft's GTA ripoff, Saints Row ripoff. It's funny, after playing Sleeping Dogs on the PlayStation 3, and then I'm going into this game and playing it, it reminds me so much of Sleeping Dogs, like the finding items all around the city that give you powers, unlocking different vehicles and costume sets and things like that. So I think it's more of a ripoff of Sleeping Dogs than it is of GTA now. Gameloft just likes to rip everybody off. So
yeah, this is the only company's business model. It's like, well, what are they doing? All right, let's do that.
Yeah, no, they're not as bad as Zynga. But
true,
but they are bad. So
they're pretty bad. How do they get away with it? Like, I guess there's really you can't. It's a deviation of, it's not like it's the same thing, but it might
it's not
as
like
well
they're
be.
copying sprites and 3D models. They're doing their own thing, but it's heavily featured. Except when you start this game, it has like a Skrillex track in the background, and I'm just like, wow, they actually paid money to get Bangarang as the theme song for this one. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. I didn't think they would actually spend real money. I thought they would take Bangarang, for example, and then make it just a little bit different. So it's not the same song, because that's kind of that's their mode of operation, is that's what they do. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been playing that a little bit as well. I wanted kind of an open world game on my iPad to kind of tool around in as well.
I guess, like, say what you will about Gameloft, they make fun games, and they are doing work. They're ripping people off for sure, but it's not like they're, well, some of the games are pretty shitty, but a lot of them are actually really good and really fun. And it's like, well, how do you really argue with this as a consumer? They're, how much was it?
$7.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I can't stomach that.
Oh no, $7, Jeff. That's a venti latte at Starbucks. I don't know if I can afford a $7 video game.
The thing, with me, it's not that the game is $7. It's that I feel like there's so much good content on iOS for free. I don't feel like I should ever be buying an app unless it's really necessary, some sort of utility I would need.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many good things on there for free that I'd have to kind of. I also don't play as you play a ton of games on the iOS. So I
play a
think
ton of
you're
games
running out of-
everywhere. I just play so many games, which doesn't make sense. Like, you don't have kids, you're not married, you work for yourself, and I play more games than you, Jeff. How is that possible? I don't understand what kind of world we live in where that is possible.
Well, without taking away any kind of credibility I have on the show, my life doesn't revolve around games as much as it used to. You know, I would play games for 12 hours a day if I had the free day off, but now it's like, well, I kind of want to go do other things, and I want to make movies and stuff. I want to write scripts. I want to, take pictures, and so I still play a lot of games, but they're very directed and focused. Like, okay, I got this new game. This is going to be all I'm going to play for the week, and I'm going to play it this time, this time, and this time, and this time.
Yeah, it didn't.
Really, I don't regulate my time like that.
It didn't really require a serious answer there, Jeff. It was just a joke. But thanks for jumping.
Now
in.
everybody knows a little bit more about me.
Wow. All right, let's get into the rest of the show. So we've talked about what we've been playing. New releases this week. We got some good stuff. Remember Me came out on Tuesday. It's getting mixed press all over the place. This is a game where you're basically in a world where you can basically record your memories and go into them. And part of the game is people going into other people's memories and changing them and stuff like that. Looks really good.
It's been in development since 2008.
Yeah, it's been a game that's been in development forever. Well,
I guess it was a different game back then, and they've kind of retooled it.
Like,
and it's
like most games that have been in development for more than a couple of years, they've changed a lot, and that's the reason why they're not coming out. The original game they wanted to make wasn't that. But
it's pretty much like a 70 on Metacritic, which isn't bad, but it's also not great. It's one of those painfully average kind of things.
It's one of the games that gets either an 8 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. And it's very polarizing from one game to another, or one site to another. Totally different thoughts and feelings about it. The one big complaint I've heard about this game is that it's really short. And what they've done is they've thrown in some like kind of battles that you go into in the game, which only really exists to take time so that the game isn't actually a 4-hour game. It's actually a 6 to 8 hour game. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested about the world and some of the stuff in this game. I don't know if I'm going to pay full price for a game that, really should be 4 hours if you took out all the padded stuff, all the padding that they thrown into it. So that one's out. We also have State of Decay. That's the game that Jeff talked about earlier. I mean, he talked about it. He doesn't think it's worth the $20 that it's being charged for it. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary with that. And then, of course, on Sunday or Saturday at midnight, Animal Crossing New Leaf will be out on the 3DS for $35. So get your Animal Crossing on. It's going to be a good one. I'm going to be buying it. I think it's 11 p.m. Saturday night is when it's available, when the apps or when the eShop updates here in Manitoba and Winnipeg, where I am. So I'm going to be hitting it at 11:01 and starting my download. And then I'm probably going to be playing till all hours in the morning as well because I'm stupid. So, Animal Crossing New Leaf coming out as well. Lots of really great stuff, man. I
don't know if you noticed, but my call dropped.
Yeah, I just didn't mention it because I was able to get everything back up and running.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, I thought you disappeared, and now I totally busted everybody.
Yeah, you broke the fourth wall.
Damn it.
And your video looks 100% better right now. So
I guess it was a good thing that happened.
Yeah, whatever happened. All right, moving on. Let's
don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. So Prometheus, he's saying so tempting to go digital on 3DS retail games or not. Tough choice. It is a tough choice. Getting it the minute it comes out is nice, but for a game like Animal Crossing, it's a game you're always going to want on your 3DS. It's a game that's been set up to do so much social things. You can browse people's city. You can ask for help. You can get into parties. You can chat. There's a text messaging system that's built into it, kind of like a chat room. There's all this stuff that you can do socially with the game that is definitely a game, well, in my opinion, that you're going to want to always have as an icon on your 3DS. I fully recommend digital download for this one because I mean, for me, I've never traded in an Animal Crossing game, whether I played it for 400 hours or 30 minutes, like the Wii one, which I didn't play for.
Have
very
you ever
long.
traded in a game?
Yeah,
Period.
yeah,
Like
I've
once,
traded in games. I've
yeah.
traded in games.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Because
don't.
you're pretty much against it now. You like to have that big archive of.
I'm a collector, and I don't like to go like a year out. Someone says something really awesome about a game that I owned and realize that I traded it in. Like I like to be able to go back and replay stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, and like Lloyd and I talked about this before the show starts. I really like I treat games as if they're a commodity to me, you know. And when I buy a game, it's like okay, it's almost as if that game is like a stack of money, you know, and it's like, okay, so this game represents $60, and every week that I have it, I take off $2 of how much I'm going to be able to sell it back for, you know, and then at some point when I don't want to play the game anymore, I will just look at that stack and go, okay, well, I mean, that's still a good enough amount of money to go and put that into a new game. I don't know why I've never been one to need like a big library of games. You know, granted, I have been burned a few times where it's like somebody's like, "Oh man, Grand Theft Auto is so much fun," and I'm like, "Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Son of a bitch." You know, like I don't want to go and buy it for because it's still $30 at the store. You know, it's like, but you know, I'd rather take that lump than just have a bunch of games sitting on my shelf that I haven't played in years, which is was the case until I went in and sold a bunch of games and got some new stuff. And,
do you collect books? Do you collect videos? Do you collect comics? Like So I mean that's what I do with games. So it's really no different than that.
The problem though for me is that games represent a much higher resale value than a lot of other media does because they're already so expensive as is, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like I can trade in a lot of movies to get a few movies. I mean, I probably could, but you know, the payback from that is often quite a bit less than it would be for a game.
Well, not like a game. If you bought a DVD that just came out for $20 and then you watched it and you traded it in within a week, you could probably sell it to stores or sell it on Kijiji or eBay or Craigslist for close to what you paid retail.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But if you have a DVD that's been around forever, I mean, they make so many more DVDs that they don't hold a value like a video game does, or like a hardcover book. I mean, if you buy a $50 hardcover book, you go to used bookstore, it's still close to that same price if it's a good book, if it's not one of those like bodice rippers or other like things that they make thousands of thousands of copies of.
Thousands?
And thousands and hundreds of thousands. Like if they have so many copies of a book that no one really wants to collect, I mean, it's not going to hold the value. I mean, it's just like anything else.
Yeah, and you definitely have more of an affinity to keep stuff because first of all, you're also playing video games that one day your kids are going to play as well too. Like for me, I'm the only one who plays the Xbox 360, and I'm really the only one who plays on the PlayStation 3. So I don't have a lot of like other people, hoping that I keep my games. It's like I don't want to play it anymore. It's a very selfish act, really. Like it's like, I don't want to play this anymore. Give me some money so I can buy another game with it. That's kind of how I look at it. I definitely understand why you like to have the collection, though.
Totally. For me, I don't have a lot of other vices. Like I don't go to the bar. I don't recreationally spend my money pretty much any other way. Video games is kind of where I spend my free cash, and I like having something to show for it at the end of the day. I don't like throwing my money into a pit. Which is the cycle of buying a game, trading it in, buying a game. It's
true. Yeah, you're always working from behind.
Yeah, but which is fine. I mean, some people have that opinion, other people don't. And with what's happening in the new console generation, maybe that's going to change a lot of people's opinions. But we'll get into that.
Ready to get fired up.
Yeah, we'll get to
Video
that.
games and black tar heroin are my only vices. And unfortunately, you can't resell black tar heroin once you've used it.
No, I mean you can, but you get shot.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. Been there.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into the rest of the show. We're not going to do music breaks this week. We're going to try something new. So let us know what you think. We did music breaks for a bit. I want to see what people like. Do you like the music breaks? Do you hate the music breaks? Do you like the show length? Do you hate the show length? We're going to try to make the show fit more with what you want to see in a podcast. So do let us know, vgpodcast@gmail.com. Prometheus Charum says he likes the music breaks. Right away, my decision was terrible. I made the wrong decision. I'm sorry, Prometheus.
He says that and then leaves the chat room. Never hear from him again.
You bastards. I was only here for the music. All right, let's get
More
into
music would be awesome. Son of a bitch.
let's get into my review for this week, which is a game that's been out for a while. It came out in December. It's called Far Cry 3. This review is sponsored by pnpgames.com. So Far Cry 3, been out for a while. I'm playing it on the 360, which I kind of wish I was playing it on the PS3, but this is the only copy I could get my hands on. The reason why is I love this game. I love everything about this game. Far Cry 3, you are basically you're a dude that basically escapes with a bunch of his friends to a tropical island, and the intro is amazing to this game. The intro video is just like, it was kind of like a holy crap moment when that's going. So you and all your friends, you're sunning on the beach, you're jumping in pools, you're drinking drinks, you're water skiing, you're skidooing, like everything that people would do if they escaped for a week with their buds to a tropical paradise. And then you jump out of a plane. You and all your friends are skydiving, and you jump out of a plane, and then something happens, which I won't spoil. And it was just like, holy crap, that was awesome. And then the game gets really, really bleak. You and your brother are essentially tied up in a cage, and you're being being Jason Brody. You're being held against your will by essentially a crime/drug kingpin called Voss. And he's the leader of the main pirate faction on this island, and he just tries to screw with you really, really bad, to the point where
he does a pretty good job of it too, doesn't he?
He does a really good job of it, to the point where he starts hunting humans, with you and your brother trying to get away. And then some other things happen, and that basically starts your story on this island. So if you're not familiar with Far Cry, they've kind of all been similar. I didn't really like Far Cry 2. I wasn't a big fan of Far Cry 1. Far Cry 3.
I liked Far Cry 2.
Far Cry 3 really kind of clicked for me, for whatever reason. So
I think it's absolutely the best one. It's the best Far Cry ever made.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. Of the three,
Again, working in absolutes.
It is the best. It is the best game ever.
There's spin-off games too, right? Like there's Instincts and stuff like that. There was like few between 1 and 2, and then there was 2, and then there wasn't anything until 3, if I remember correctly.
So Far Cry 3 is the best game ever that has the words Far Cry in the title.
Yes, and the number 3.
Yeah. All right. So in the game, it basically revolves around you running around an island. It's a big, huge open world where you can pretty much do anything and make your own fun. And there's all these little installations and outposts. And if you kill everybody in these outposts, you take it over. And when you take it over, that allows you to then fast travel from that location to location, so you can easily pop your way across the map, which is a good thing, because if you're running from one end of the map to the other, it would probably take you maybe an hour in real time. Like, it is a huge world. Plus, if you're not bored by your run across this island, you're going to get eaten by tigers or Komodo lizards and Komodo dragons and all these other things in the game, or bears. It is a
when the Komodo dragon sneaks up on you and you're just standing there and all of a sudden it's just like attached to your leg, that's pretty freaking jarring. Like, it just scares the hell out of me sometimes. Just trouncing through the forest, and then you're down on the ground kicking a Komodo dragon.
Do you have a phobia that you want to talk about here on the show? Komodo
dragons are scary.
Are you definitely afraid of Komodo dragons?
Their saliva is like acid.
All right. Well, let's get back into the review. We'll talk about Komodo dragons later. So that's pretty much what the game is. Like, you're working with anybody that will help you, because you want to get everybody from your party back. There's a couple girls, there's a couple guys, and you want to get them all together because you're the guy that's going to save this group of people. And then weird stuff happens. You meet a cult leader who gives you all these sorts of drugs that make you see things and do weird things. And the game takes a really turn for the bizarre, which I loved, by the way. There's all these like great like fever dreams that you go into. There's this one where you take this potion and you're doing this test of might where you're fighting this huge creature that is throwing like fireballs at you. They're not fireballs. They're like purple magic balls or whatever that he's throwing at you. And and it's just like everything that happens, like the story in this game had me totally riveted the whole time. And then at the end of the day, I heard something. Was that you? Oh, that's me having a Facebook page open. That's really weird.
Yeah.
I gotta turn that off. So let me close that window. So sorry if you guys got your ears blasted with a ding sound. So yeah, so you could play the game as going through the main storyline, following people on the island that tell you to go here, talk to this guy. This guy will help you. That guy won't help you right away. He wants you to do something else. You can do that, or you could just make your own fun. There's hundreds of items to find. There's chests. There's trophies, or not trophies. There's statues, I guess, that you can find that are hidden all over. There's weapons that you can unlock. You unlock the weapons by getting radio towers. Radio towers unlock more parts of the map that you can see, that give you kind of like an Assassin's Creed kind of thing where they spin around and show you kind of key items in the thing. There's so much to do in this game that there's probably 50, 60 hours of just running around like goofing off thing. And that doesn't even touch the whole crafting system that's in the game. So when you start the game, you can hold a few bullets, you can hold a couple grenades, you can hold a couple syringes that give you your health potions and stuff. But then you kill certain animals and you skin them, and then you can use their bodies to make other things. So you can use their skin to make bigger pouches for weapons. You can use them to actually allow you to carry more than one weapon, because when you start the game, you can only carry one weapon at a time. After you've upgraded that all the way, you can carry 4. So you can go just look on your map and say, okay, this is where the bears are. So you fast travel to a place by the bears. You go kill the bears, skin them, take their skin, make bigger things. When you get to a certain point of crafting, you have to kill a certain ultra rare creature. The only way to do that ultra rare creature is to take over the proper base that will give you the quest to go get that ultra rare creature. So just like, when I played this game, I didn't have a lot of time. Like I had the game for a week, so I wanted to beat the main storyline, and I did it kind of in the nick of time. But there's probably another 40, 50 hours, maybe 20 to 30 hours, I'll say, of just running around, having fun, collecting everything else in this game, which is the reason why I wish I would have played it on the PS3, because then I could go buy a used copy and play it at my own pace. Farcry'd 3 is great. Definitely a mature title. There's a lot of sex and violence and swearing. Like every second word is like an F-bomb or someone saying shit or something like that. Not a game that I could play.
A lot of the language you'll hear tonight in a few minutes.
Yeah. Not a game that I could play with my kids around, which is terrible, because Nick, my son, would have loved like the hunting and exploring the islands. Like the game itself looks beautiful, with the islands being like this super ultra saturated, like super bright blues and bright greens, and that's in the daytime, and then it turns to night, like, because there's a day-night cycle, and then there's rain, and it's just the world that they created for Far Cry 3 is just gorgeous. I really, 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 really dig it. So I guess that's my review. It's a game that's been out since December, so you don't really need to hear much more about it. It's been getting some good reviews since it came out. It gets definitely my seal of approval. It is a game that I will want to pick up eventually and play. Even though I've played it and beat it on the PlayStation 3 or on the 360, I'm going to pick it up again and play through the whole thing on my PlayStation 3 because I loved it that much. So,
there's a lot more for you to experience too. They've released a couple of DLC packs. They actually just released a new free DLC map editor as well too. Mm-hmm. There's not that you're into it, but there's like a multiplayer aspect as well too, and there's a bunch. There's also the co-op campaign. So
yeah, there's co-op. There's lots of stuff.
What did you think about the fact that, like, the game, just like Tomb Raider, has this very strange disconnection between how your character feels about killing and the swath of violence you cut through the forest? It's almost the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but that's because you're playing a video game. You're not engaging in a real life thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if the game revolved around you having to kill a couple people to save your friends, it would have been about an hour long. So, I mean, in a game like this, it's like a summer blockbuster popcorn munching movie. You have to kind of take your brain, put it in a bowl beside you, and kind of just enjoy the ride.
Keep the pieces of your brain that allow you to move your thumbs, and you're good.
Well, no, you just your body muscle memory will take over. But yeah, you have to disconnect some of the quirkiness, because it is video game. It's not a story.
How much fun is that wingsuit too?
The wingsuit, I
loved it.
It was great. It was fun. I wish there was more places to use it. Like I wish I could like rent a plane to then go skydiving, so I could just do more of the skydiving thing, because that would have been really cool. Like you only use the wingsuit from a high point really once, and then you can kind of jump from a tower and use the wingsuit. It's fun, but I wish I had a hell of a lot more time to play it.
Yeah, there's that really great section of the game where you have to attack those guys on the bridge and then blow up the bridge and then jump off down a waterfall. Like that was an awesome sequence.
Yeah, it was great.
But you're right. Yeah, like the second island has a lot more verticality with hills and mountains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the top, you can jump off cliffs. But you know, unless you're really good at, like I ended up getting,
unless you're really fast at hitting the wingsuit button and then open parachute, otherwise you crater in your wingsuit.
Yeah, well, you can like hover the wingsuit like basically right on the ground so that you're almost touching it, and then hit the parachute and you'll be fine. But yeah, that thing was just so much fun. Just like, you know, going to the top of a tower, jumping off, flying around for a bit, and then seeing like a base of guys just dive bombing in there and just taking them out. Like it was
parachuting down and landing on someone and killing them, and this game has so much ability to make your own fun. Like in some of the bases, there's there will be a cage with an animal inside of it. There'll be a tiger or something, the stupid like ostrich looking bird or something stupid. Well, you go far away with your sniper rifle. You shoot that cage with your sniper rifle. The cage breaks and this animal comes out and just wrecks shit up and just destroys. Like, especially if it's a tiger, it will just destroy multiple guys with semi-automatic rifles that are aiming at it. And you just stand back and you giggle, and then you go mop up the one or two remaining guys and just destroy them. It is so good. It is a fun, like, as far as like open world games, I'm kind of in an open world game kick. I mean, I'm Far Cry 3. I played Blood Dragon first. I'm playing Sleeping Dogs right now, and I really enjoyed Far Cry 3. Probably one of the best ones that I played in a long time.
Now, for me, I played it, I think it was January or February when I finally picked up that game. So it was after the new year. But if I had played it when it had come out, that game would have been on my Game of the Year list for sure. Probably in the top 3. Would it have been on yours as well?
Yeah, I think so. It was definitely it won Game of the Year on a lot of different people's lists that I've, like, podcasts I listen to and stuff like that. People really dug it. So great game. I'm really happy I played it, and I will pick it up again since I just borrowed this copy, and I will own a copy on my PlayStation 3 so I can play through it again and again and again. It's nice. It is a lot of fun. All right, man. What do you say we get into the meat of the show?
If I said I don't like the idea, what would we do?
I would disconnect you, and I would invite someone else randomly into the Skype call and continue.
Tom gets back on the show. Actually, you know, when I was arguing with Tom via text message about State of Decay, he's like, this is one of those times when I wish I was still on the show. Because he wanted to yell at me so bad for not liking that game. But
I'll have to secretly get him on next Friday so he can yell at you a little bit.
Yeah, and he'll have like this just addendum of things that he wants to bust me on. Anyway, great. E3 predictions.
Actually, Skyward Keyblade in the chat room wants to come on instead of you. Maybe we'll have to do that.
All right, fine. Let him on. See what you can do.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's get into the we're going to get into the news part of the show. We've got a few news items that are interesting, but since E3 is next week, I mean, it's Friday. E3 starts on, I don't know, Monday. It actually started today. There was some press conferences today. They had the Konami press conference. I thought Jeff and I chatted, and we thought that it would be really good to give you our predictions, but we're not going to sit here and prognosticate what the whole show is going to be about. We're going to give you 3 predictions for each hardware manufacturer, so Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft Xbox. And we're going to kind of just run them through pretty quick. We're not going to spend too much time chatting with it. And I'm kind of looking at you in the video feed when I say that, Jeff.
That's why I'm nodding my head.
We don't need to ranty too much about this yet, because there will be ranty. There will be some rants to be ranted soon. But
I also like that I'm really happy that you're probably going to get in on this rant with me. And I love ranting with someone who's ranting with me. You know, we're both ranting about the same thing. Oh, it's fantastic.
It is good. Yeah,
it's good. I'm excited. So let's see. Just scrap the whole show and just go right to the rant.
This just in: Sinister in the chat room is bribing me to get on the show instead of you, Jeff. He wants
with a very good bribe.
32 gig Vita card. I might have to look into that.
Bitch.
No, just kidding.
I mean, quite frankly, Lloyd, you're an idiot if you don't take that deal.
You're an idiot, Jeff. Let's rant
Exactly.
about how much of an idiot each other is.
$100 value right there. Man.
Let's get into the E3 predictions.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's start with Nintendo.
All right.
So Nintendo this year is not doing a press conference.
Nope.
At all. There's no press conference. They're having a press gathering. And then they're like, come to the show floor. Come to Best Buy. Spend your time standing in line at a Best Buy. Do this. Which is stupid. But
somehow they're smarter than Microsoft, though, if you can believe that.
They're very smart. But what they're doing is Monday, they're doing a Nintendo Direct. So there's going to be probably a half hour to an hour long, awkward, really bad, awkward paused video that they're going to put out to drop their E3 Megaton bombs. So let's start with our Nintendo predictions. And Jeff, why don't you go first?
So the first thing that I'm expecting to see, and I'll also iterate that these are things I kind of expect and want to see. Some of them I'm pretty much aware that they're not going to happen, but I really want to see them. So the first one is something that I think has been in the works for a few months now, and that is the Wii U is going to be reconfigured or rebundled with a price drop. So I think that we're going to see something different about the Wii U that makes it more of a purchase. They might change something in the marketing plan that lets people know that this is a different console. It's the next iteration, and not just a peripheral or something that the Wii has. And if, the antithesis to that, or not the antithesis, but maybe the other side to that would be that instead of that happening, it gets rebundled with some games that are going to be exclusive, maybe the Mario or the new Zelda game or whatever, and it's also going to have a price drop. I don't know how much that drop's going to be, but if it was up to me, $60 to $80. But that's sure. I feel like that should be in the works, and if not, that's going to be pretty disappointing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, so that's your first prediction.
Yes, I can go do the other three, and then you can do three. Or do you want to go one on one? Or
yeah, we'll go back and forth. My first prediction is also a price drop. Okay. I feel that with Xbox screwing up very, very badly, with the PlayStation coming out, probably won't be under $400. Nintendo can look at the market and say, okay, we're $350. That's really close to what the price of all these other consoles are. Yeah. Let's drop it. So my current prediction is that because of what happened this week where places like, GameStop, I guess in the States, or Electronics Boutique, EB Games here in Canada, have basically been told to send back the standard edition bundles, so the white 8 gig bundles. That what Nintendo's going to do is get rid of the whole 8 gig standard bundle. They're going to say we're going to have a 32 gig pro bundle with all the fixins, and they're both going to be 32 gig, but you can get either a white or black console, whatever color you want. The color won't differentiate the type of console you get anymore. And with that, what they're going to do is they're going to bundle in basically whatever is in the Pro now. So you get the charger, you get Nintendo Land. They might even throw in some eShop credit just to get people using the online store. But then they're going to take the price and they're going to drop it down to $279 for that bundle. I think that's,
if they could hit $289, that $289 price point's pretty attractive. Yeah. $279, that's really good.
Yeah, I think $289, maybe I'll give you that. I think they want to drop under $300 because people aren't buying the standard edition at $300, so you have to get a little bit cheaper than that. But people aren't also not buying the standard console; they're buying the Pro console. So yeah, I think if my one big guess for Nintendo is that they're going to do that because they kind of got to. They have a couple heavy hitters that are basically standing there and staring them down, and they're having problems selling these consoles. So. Yeah, $279 price drop, new standard bundle, only one bundle, but two different colors is my first prediction.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that from day one, the regular non-pro edition of that console was one of the worst decisions they've ever made because it was completely useless. There was no incentive to buy that console. If maybe the only incentive was, hey, we really want you to buy this one, but then why build all those? It was just a weird decision. My next one is that I think it's time for a new Metroid game. So I feel like we're going to be getting a Metroid announcement. I feel like it's going to be possibly a continuation of the Prime trilogy, and we'll go in that direction. I don't think it would be a game in the vein of Other M. I know that game had pretty mixed reviews, although it wasn't that the game was bad. It was that they didn't like how the protagonist was handled. But I feel like a new Metroid game is coming, and friggin' sweet would a first-person Metroid game on the Wii U be with that bottom screen. I mean, that would be wicked. I think it would look really good, and it just the connectivity with how that controller works.
Just the new look and feel in HD. That would be nice.
It would be really nice. So I really hope that that's coming, because not only that, but I mean that kind of game would really sweeten the pot for a Wii U owner. I mean that'd be a buy on launch, But totally. I don't know who would make it. I don't really know, but yeah, I think a new Metroid game is in the works, and I feel like we're going to get an announcement of that in a few days.
Cool. All right. Well, we didn't put our heads together before the show. We kept these things separate and secret. So we should say that because they're pretty similar. My second prediction is that Nintendo has been working on a new F-Zero game for a while.
Oh, nice. That would be sweet.
And that they are going to announce it at E3, and it will come out this year. The reason why I say that is F-Zero is not like a AAA title for Nintendo. It's not super popular, I guess. But they have been putting out a lot of F-Zero related stuff recently. On the eShop this week for Nintendo Club Points, you can get F-Zero. They've been doing it for virtual console stuff. Like when you got the Ambassador program, you got an F-Zero. They've just been doing a lot of F-Zero, 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 Zero. So I'm thinking that is kind of prepping the industry for the relaunch of this franchise. I don't know. This is just a guess. This is a total 100% guess because I haven't heard any rumors at all from anybody that F-Zero will be coming out. But I think now is a good time.
Yeah, it would be a good time.
Get a nice, super fast, like HD, like Wipeout, like super bright Wipeout like racer in the F-Zero world. I would buy that. F-Zero wasn't my favorite racing game, but I had so much fun playing battle mode, or whatever it was called, like King Mode or whatever it was, on F-Zero, and just competing with my friends in like the pass and play mode that they had on like the N64 or whatever. I want to play more of that. Or was it GameCube that did that? I can't even remember. It's been so long since I played the game. It is a game that I would like to play again, and hopefully Nintendo hears that and gives it to us. Mm-hmm. So that's my second prediction.
A new F-Zero would be pretty sweet. I would definitely want to play something like that. I loved the first F-Zero on the Super Nintendo. Played the hell out of that game. Yep.
I even bought it for the Game Boy Advance as a launch title and played the hell out of that one as well.
It was actually a really good port of that game too, wasn't it? It played really well.
Yeah, it was so good.
The only thing that held it back was the fact that the Game Boy Advance screen wasn't backlit, and then the colors were already a little bit dark anyway, so it was a little hard to see. But just get one of those UFO stringy lights that everybody had in that day. My last Nintendo prediction is that I believe that the Wii U and Nintendo, excuse me, they're going to have a nice big push towards a more app-centric experience. I know they're doing a lot of that stuff now, but I feel like we're going to have a bunch of announcements that are going to be all these little self-contained apps that are going to be really interesting to Wii U owners. Maybe some connectivity or some more improved connectivity between the 3DS apps and the Wii U apps. But I feel like we're going to see a big torrent of this new stuff come out, because I know that Nintendo recognizes that other console manufacturers are, I almost butchered that word, manufacturers. They are building their consoles to not just be a gaming machine. They're going to have these apps. They're going to have, a bunch of other integrated features. And I don't think Nintendo's really lagging behind in the app department. They do have a lot of stuff out there, but I feel like we're at the point where we're going to see a lot of new stuff come in that Nintendo's really good about showing you, kind of like Apple in the same regard. They are good at showing you stuff that you never would have asked for, but want right away, you know? And I feel like that's going to be this big app push. They're going to be like, here's a bunch of stuff that you probably would have never thought you'd liked, but I'm sure you're going to like it. So that's my last prediction. I feel like that one's a bit tenuous though. Like, you know, there's that could go either way, you know?
Yep, for sure. All right, cool. Next up, this isn't more a prediction, but just kind of, well, I guess it is a prediction, but it's a larger prediction, kind of what I think Nintendo's going to show off about new games. So I think for this year, we're going to have a new Zelda and a new 3D Mario for sure launching this year. I think they're going to talk about a new Metroid game, a new Smash Brothers, and a new Kart. They've already said as much that they're going to have at least Smash Brothers and Kart, Mario Kart. But I think those are going to launch either really late this year, but mostly early next year. So we're going to have every couple months, we're going to have a big Nintendo title just to kind of drive sales of the new console that is not selling very, very well at all.
Well, that is their only advantage, right? Is that their console's already out. So
Yep.
the games that they show are like, we should be playing these this year, so that the holiday season is you buy games and the console. You've got some things to sell the system come, you know, if they come out and say, we've got all these great games available Q1 2014, you're not going to see a big return on that console come holiday time. I'll just buy it when the games come out, you know?
Sure.
But if they, like you said, if they're coming out this year in the next few months and then into the holiday season, yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to definitely see some returns in how many people are buying their consoles.
Yep. Definitely. All right.
Should we go into Sony or Microsoft?
It's up to you. I'll let you.
Let's go into Sony, because Microsoft will bring us right into the first news item, which is Microsoft.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'll go first for this one.
Okay.
Just so you can copy all of mine, just like
it.
I apparently copied all of yours.
Yeah.
So, my first prediction isn't necessarily 100% of a prediction. Some of it is we already know, and that is that the Vita will be a huge part of the PS4. It's already been said that every PlayStation 4 game will require you to be able to stream it on the Vita. So every developer has to make their game playable on the Vita through their off-screen play, which is great. What I think Sony's going to be doing is a huge price drop of the Vita. Well, not huge, but a price drop of the Vita. So the Vita will not be $250 anymore. It'll be $199 or $179. But even more than that, for people that don't already own a Vita, there will be a PlayStation Plus Vita bundle available at launch, where for like an extra $50 to $70 on top of the PlayStation 4 you're already buying, you're going to get the PlayStation 4, you're going to get a Vita, you're going to get one of the new controllers, you're going to get the PlayStation Eye, and you're going to get a game, or you probably won't get a game. They won't bundle a game right away. But they want the Vita to be the selling feature. They want to compete with Nintendo and their gamepad. So they're going to be bundling the Vita with at least one of the SKUs of the PlayStation 4 at launch to get it out into as many homes as they possibly can.
Yeah, I am copying you. My first one was PS Vita price drop. I'm thinking around the same you are, you know, $189, $199. It's just too damn expensive, you know.
With a huge ass video memory card bundled in, not that 4.
That's what really makes
piece of crap.
Yeah, that's what really makes it a pain in the ass. If the console itself came with a 32 gigabyte memory card, or at least the memory card itself was adequately priced and not clearly gouging, it wouldn't be as bad. But the fact that you have to buy a memory card because there's no internal memory, you know, your $300 purchase is now $350, and that's without a game. So you're now into $400 range, and that is a little bit too steep for, I think, almost everyone who's looking to buy a handheld. So bring it under $200. You know, keep your fucking memory cards at whatever price you want. I still hate that they do that shit. It's just it's such bullshit. You know, they're like, here's your fingernail in a computer chip.
It's not
Give
even
us
that.
$100.
Here's this new technology so that we can charge whatever we want for it instead of using SD, which has been around forever and is affordable.
Yeah, it's just and you know, what are the advantages that you know, why not even just continue using Pro Stick Duo? At least those have come down a little bit in price. They weren't that much of.
Yeah.
They're not like this unruly, you know, unreliable piece of technology. Anyway, I'm getting into that. But anyway, so PS Vita price drop down under $200. You know, if it was down even to like $210 or $220, that would be really nice as well too.
Sure.
And also consequent bundles for the holiday season. So I feel like a PS Plus bundle is in the works, probably a 3-month trial, which is, you know, a really decent trial at this point. And if not a game, some kind of peripheral that makes owning a Vita a little bit better. So maybe a memory card, most likely not though, because of how Sony is about that stuff, but more likely a case or some sort of stand, a charging cradle kind of deal. I feel like that's in the works. And I mean, it's just a damn good idea. It's not selling very well because it's so expensive. Drop the price down. You don't have to say you're sorry. You don't have to admit your fault. Just drop the price down. It's been out for a year and a half now. Price drop is okay at this point,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to stay at $300, especially when you're not selling any of them. Plus, if it stays that high, your handheld directly competes with the cost of your console, which is ridiculous. You want them to own both, not have to choose one or the other. And if the price stays high like it is, I would, I'm going to buy a PS4 instead of buying a PS Vita, because why the hell wouldn't I, So yeah, I'm right there with you. That's we've basically made the same prediction. So
cool.
What's your next one?
Okay, moving on. I think Sony is going to focus a huge portion of the start of their press conference to talk about their ability to play used games. It's been rumored that used games will be not supported on this console, but then this whole week, all of last week, all of the week before, Microsoft's been basically kicked and punched and shat upon all over the internet. I think Sony sees that, and even though they might have already had plans, they're going to say, oops, all right, we will play whatever you want to put in the system, except as long as it's a PlayStation 4 game. There'll probably be some sort of limitation, like if you copy it to your hard drive, you can't trade it in anymore. Like there'll be the ability to download the game from the disk to the hard drive permanently, or you can just play it off the drive and then use it as kind of a game that you can trade in. So it's not locked to that console. There might be some sort of limitation like that, but I think that used games will have to be a feature of Sony, because they're seeing what's happening to Xbox right now, Microsoft right now, and they're scared. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, you copied mine as well, too.
No, you copied mine because I went first.
Swear to God, that's my next one. Mine, as I wrote it, Sony makes full detailed statement on PS4, used games, DRM, always online. I'm right there with you. Here's the thing. If Sony had the same or maybe even a more nefarious plan than Microsoft in terms of used games, I don't care. They could have had the worst of intentions for this console. The fact that if you just go online and look at the feedback, even from the less vocal people who are like, just a little bit more subdued and like, I'm writing a constructive argument. This is not good. I don't like this. Not that people just, oh, this is the worst, and, expletives and all that kind of stuff. Sony would do well to just look at that and go, let's abandon this plan completely. Let's, how about this? How about Sony comes out and says, guess what? You can play Xbox 360 games on the PS4. That's what they would really have. They don't have to do much. They just have to not do what Microsoft's doing. Yeah. And that'll come through. So I feel like they probably have a similar system, but they just don't have to use it. I'm sure they could just turn a switch off that says no,
exactly,
no always online,
and I think
that's fine.
I think that might be what they do, is they realize the black eye that Microsoft has. They can roll back. They can say, yep, you can do whatever you want, and then slowly over the next 5 years that this console is going to last, roll that in, the used game market in, find some way that they can slowly kind of introduce this in a way that isn't as, yep, you bought a game, sorry, you don't get to play it on whatever you want, because you don't own the game, you own a license to the game. But we'll get into that rant in a little bit. The thing that Sony does have a very good advantage here. If I was at the head of Sony, I would thank Microsoft personally by saying, thank you for taking the first step, so now we know exactly what not to do. Everybody hates this. I have never seen, and I don't know about you, who has ever seen such a unanimous opinion on something this quickly, Yeah. It's just, I don't see anybody really trying to defend what Microsoft's doing. Everybody's pissed off about it. Yep. So Sony just has to look at that and go, we're not doing that. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Here's some games. Yeah. Yeah. No, so what's your next one? I fully agree. Okay, so my last one is that this one is out of left field and will not ever be something that will happen, but I'm throwing it out here because, hey, that's what this is. This is predictions, not we know this is likely going to happen, boring stuff. So PlayStation Plus exists right now on the PlayStation 3, and you get a lot of features from it. You get cloud savings, you get auto downloads, you get a lot of really cool stuff. One of the big features of it is the instant game collection, where you buy PlayStation Plus, immediately you get access to about a dozen games for free, and you get to play them as much as you want, and that's really awesome. This week, they announced that in June, you get Deus Ex Human Revolution. You get a couple other really good games. One
Uncharted
of them,
3?
well, that's I'm getting to that. They announced Deus Ex Human Revolution. Jeff keeps stopping all over what I'm about to say. You get Saints Row the Third and a couple other ones. They said, don't worry, we're going to have more announcements for you this week. And it's like, oh, I wonder what those announcements are. Well, today they announced that you get Uncharted 3, you get XCOM Enemy Unknown, you get, what's the other big one that's coming out as well? Infamous 2.
Yeah.
No,
that's
not it. What is the other one that you get? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, Little Big Planet Karting is the other one. So it's like games that most people would want or at least be interested in, you get them for free. It's like, this is the best thing ever. I know you made a face when I said Little Big Planet Karting, but it's a free game.
But it's free, and
it's free.
There's nothing really wrong with the game. I just wouldn't buy money for it or pay for it. But then I don't have to.
Exactly. Like you can play one of the best games of last year, Uncharted 3, for free, just for paying $50 for the year, and you get to keep this game for as long as you keep paying.
You actually get to play a few of the greatest games of the last few years. For free.
Totally. And you get to keep this game for as long as you are a paying member in PlayStation Plus. If you don't pay, the games aren't usable anymore, but it's no different than, say, a Netflix subscription where you pay for Netflix, you pay your $10 a month, you get to stream video, you don't get to keep any of it. Very similar, because one of my friends at work was just like, I'm not paying for that. I want my games. I don't want the games to ever go away. Well, they aren't your games. You're paying,
you didn't actually pay for them.
You're paying for access to a library. You're not paying for a game. And it's like, oh no, because if I buy a game and it's on my console, I get pissed off if I don't play it. And didn't we have the same conversation as well, Jeff? You said something pretty similar to that.
He's making a pretty poor argument. My argument is,
we kind of talked about the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was very, very negative. Like, this is stupid. If I get a game, if I download, if I spend my bandwidth getting this game, I should be able to keep it forever. And I'm just like, okay, like, you're an idiot. This is no different than Netflix or any other subscription service. You get access to it for a short period of time. Mm-hmm. So my prediction after that long intro, when I said we're not going to ramble and we're not going to talk for a long time about this stuff, and I did it, I apologize.
Well, we do anyway. So
PlayStation 4 will have PlayStation Plus available at launch. But since there's no games that they're going to give away for free, what they're going to do is there's going to be free rentals for a period of time, so a week, a couple days or whatever, of new titles for available a month after they launch. So Uncharted 4 comes out. A month later, you get to play it for free for a couple days for your $50 a year thing.
What a good idea that would be if they actually implemented that.
So they've gotten their money for day one, and then they allow people to play it for maybe even 24 hours just to get a free sample. So they do that now for a lot of games where you get to download it, and it's a 24-hour clock once you start playing it, and then you can either buy it or whatever. Yeah. But don't just do that for some of the games. Do it for every game. Give everybody an hour access to a game, but like, don't do it right away. Do it like a month after launch or 2 months after launch. I think that's what PlayStation Plus will offer for every game, because they have to find some way to differentiate it from PlayStation Plus on the PlayStation 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I hope they would actually do that, because that would, what an incentive, right? First of all, you get to actually try all these games and be like, oh, I want to buy that, and it's like the demo, but it's a little bit different because you're not getting the demo. Which is, this very odd kind of, piece of a game that's, disjointed and you don't have any context, but that'd be a cool idea.
Yep. I hope so. I hope it happens.
Very cool idea. So my last one, actually I have a few more, but I'm going to just do them really quickly, rapid fire, because they're just one sentence. But my last one was the same as yours. Basically continuing improvements made to PlayStation Plus, making it a must-have for any PS3 owner, and also making it a must-have for any PS4 owner. And I didn't really have anything specific, but your idea is fantastic. So I'm just going to bandwagon onto that and move on. My 4, 5, and 6 are, we see the console. We finally get to take a look at what it looks like. My 5th one was no price, but an exact launch date. And then the 6th one is, I really want to see Last Guardian because, quite frankly, I don't even think the game exists anymore outside of the screens and the videos that we've seen in the last 3 E3s in a row. I want to play that game, but I don't even know if it exists. So I kind of want to see it. I hope it does exist because Last Guardian looks cool, and it might be like the swan song of Square, depending on how the company goes. But let's move on to Microsoft, what everybody wants to hear.
All right. Well, since I went first last time, how about you go first this time? I don't want to copy you, or you don't want you to have to copy me again.
Sometimes I feel like we've been working from the same well here. My first one is no price on the console, but a launch date. I feel like Sony and Microsoft at this point are going to say no price because I think Sony has learned from their $5.99, you'll want to work 2 jobs to pay for it bullshit from E3, 06?
Yeah, whatever that was.
05 maybe.
Yeah.
And I feel like Microsoft should know better based on that. But I feel like we're going to get a launch date for each of them. A concrete launch. It's going to be November 11th, whatever. That's my first one. No price, but we are going to get a launch date.
Sure. Let's see. Sorry, I closed my window by accident. I'm just opening it up right now. Okay. So my first prediction for Microsoft is that they're going to talk a little bit about the Xbox 360. They're going to say, we're here to talk about Xbox One, but since the Xbox One isn't backwards compatible, we're taking today Xbox 360s, the core bundle, whatever it is now, comes with a system and a hard drive and blah, 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 blah. They're going to drop it to $99. Boom. Right on the day that the Xbox One ships, you'll be able to go to the store and get an Xbox 360 for $100 more so that you can still play your games or experience the great list of Xbox Live arcade games from the previous generation.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. If you want to play used games, you can play used games as much as you want at Xbox 360. So they're going to do something stupid like that. They're going to drop the price just to a ridiculous level, so that everybody that has a PlayStation 1 for sure has an Xbox 360, and even people can plug it into the HDMI in port if they want, if they don't have a cable box to plug in.
Makes sense. Be nice to see. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Well, these aren't what we think is going to happen, Jeff. These are predictions.
I know they're not hard and fast. But the thing is, there's some good ideas here, and I would really want to see them happen. Mm-hmm. And now I'm probably going to be a little disappointed when they're like, Hitler is our new, our new representative here at Xbox One.
Wow.
Hitler. I've been seeing the hashtag.
You brought Hitler into the conversation.
Sorry. So it was a cheap shot. I've been seeing the hashtag on Twitter lately. Xbox quotation don't buy and quotation one, which I think is really funny. My second one is going to be games galore, and what I mean by that is when they did their reveal of the Xbox One, the only really bright point was that they said very briefly that there are going to be 15 exclusives in the first year of launch, which means I guess whenever they launch it to the year later. 15 is pretty big. You're looking at almost one every 2 weeks at that point. 15 exclusives would be nice. Now, what they didn't say was how many of those are going to be Kinect bullshit games. But 15 is 15, and that's a lot, and that's a big promise for the first year. Now, I think the first year window is technically...
Can I jump in for a second here?
Yeah.
Every game is going to be a Kinect bullshit game because you have to have your camera and microphone on at all times.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So,
but what I mean is that Kinect is the
no, I'm just joking. I'm being a jerk.
Oh, okay. We're going to find out what the 15 exclusives are. They're going to let us know who's making them. We're going to see some of the games, and maybe all of them. 15's a lot to go through on stage when you probably got only around 90 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. But it would be nice to see all of them. I know that I'm going to say that all of them are going to be on the floor to play.
Sure.
At least I hope so.
Yeah.
So that's my next one, is that it's just going to be, and as the first part of that is that it's going to be games galore, which has already been said by Microsoft many times. E3 is going to be games, 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 games. So, I don't think that was too far-reaching of a prediction.
Yep. And of those 15 games, there's probably going to be 7 or 8 of them that are just shown in a sizzle reel. Like that's going to take like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and we already know what a few of them are. We've got that quantum whatever, and then we have the Forza game for sure. Mm-hmm. Maybe Halo. I think it's too early because
I think they're going to tease something. They're going to drop this is what Halo looks like on the Xbox One.
Yeah. We're like, oh my god, it's like the last one.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, new guns that shoot things. Yay. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so my next prediction, you kind of covered. It's a big one that isn't big at all. There is no price given because they do not want to give Sony the upper hand. They know that if they announce a price, Sony tomorrow, the next day, can announce a price that's $1 less and win the internet. So there'll be no Xbox One price given.
That's a good point, that because Microsoft is first of the big three manufacturers, if I was Sony, I'd be looking at that press conference, then going to the internet and saying, what's the response? Let's tweak all of our shit after that. Yep. And if they don't do that, they're crazy.
Yep.
But yes, no price for sure, because they'd be stupid to announce one. It'd be just stupid.
Sony has this huge like flowchart behind the scenes. It's like, if Microsoft is stupid and does this, we'll do this. If Microsoft does this, we'll do this.
And then they'll release an infographic a couple of weeks later and be like, see what we did?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, Microsoft. So my last one is, now I would love for them to go up on stage and start doing damage control. And that's my prediction, is that I feel like they should be doing damage control.
Oh, God, yes.
But I know that no one is going to pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars for an E3 stage to go up there and say, here's what we're doing wrong. They're not going to do it, but I would love it if they went up there and said, listen, we are in a transition period. I feel like they could make me happy by just saying, like, we're trying to figure out what the best route to go about this is. We tried to do some stuff new that maybe isn't working. We're going to make some tweaks. Just to basically be a fucking man and say, we're doing some stuff wrong. We're trying to figure it out. We still want people to be a fan of us, and it's not happening. But what they're really going to do is they're going to go up there and they're going to pretend everything is fine. And that's going to piss me right the hell off.
Because that's Microsoft. They're an arrogant company. When Vista was a steaming pile of crap, they never admitted that Vista was a problem for the longest time. There was, after Windows 7 came out, they finally said that, Vista was maybe a failed launch. But they're like, Vista's good, Vista's good, Vista's good, Vista's good. And then 5 years later, maybe we made a mistake. Like they're not going to announce they did anything wrong, but you can always hope, right?
And they're going to catch a lot of flack because I know I could say with almost 100% certainty that they're going to go up on stage. Some guy in a fucking suit that you don't care about is going to go up there and he's going to put on some bullshit smile and say, everything is great and here's your games and you're going to love to play them and here's when the box is going to come out. And then he's going to screw off. And you're going to sit there and go, the last 2 weeks have been horrendous for your company. You've done more to make me mad that these games aren't going to bring me in, and it because they're not gonna say that they're doing anything wrong or that they screwed up, and that's just going to piss people off more, myself included. So I hope they go up there and admit some kind of fault, but quite frankly, if I was in charge, I don't know if I would spend all that money to just say I'm sorry, But you could do something to help us out.
I hope so. Yeah. All right, moving on. My last prediction for the Xbox press conference is that Kiefer Sutherland will make a surprise appearance to talk about the new Metal Gear Solid game, and he will come out and do more awkward facial expressions to tell about how the mocap works on this next Metal Gear title. And
Victor Lucas actually tweeted a few weeks ago that he said that he had confirmed that Kiefer Sutherland was going to be on the stage.
Oh, really?
He was going to be the host of the actual entire Microsoft event, if I remember correctly.
That would be awesome. Well, did you see the video that they put up for the new Metal Gear?
I did, yeah. It's very funny. He's like
he's scrunching his face and he's talking out the side of his mouth. Like,
you see that screen over there? That's my face.
I'm Solid Snake. Just talking out the side of his mouth. Really weird. But I think he's going to host it, and he's going to do awkward facial expressions for at least 10 of the 90 minutes that this thing's going to go on. And
it's hard to get mad at Kiefer Sutherland because you're pretty sure he could kick your ass.
Well, he's going to have his little merce that's going to have all sorts of weapons and bombs in it. So
exactly,
you don't want to.
He's going to Jack Bauer the shit out of anyone.
Some CTU crap is going to come out. And
he's also got such a great voice that it would be hard for me to sit there and be like, damn it, Kiefer Sutherland. He's so disconnected from the gaming industry as well, too, that there's no point in getting mad at him.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. All right, so that's our predictions. Hopefully, the bulk of them come true. I'm sure some of them will. But yeah, that's our predictions. So we'll see how well we did. We'll have our checklist while we listen to all the various press conferences.
I'm surprised so many of ours matched up. That was kind of curious.
Yeah, I mean, well,
stay out of my house.
We kind of know what happens in the industry.
Yeah, well, we're on the inside track here, people.
No, I mean, but we've been around. I mean, I've been
true,
around. Yeah. You're just a young fool, but I've been around for a while, and I kind of know. I know a few things.
Fool is the nice way of putting it.
All right, let's get into our next one. We're going to talk about Microsoft. Before we do that, I'm going to read out a Facebook comment that I made today because I think it's probably the best way that I could put this. It's kind of the summation of my feelings because I know we had a big argument last week about Microsoft and what they are about. And even before when they first announced the Xbox One, we had an argument about how this is a bad thing. And you're like, no, it's not going to be so bad. Things are good. I've been around. I've been in the industry. I've been in many different industries, video games, technology. I'm older as well, so I have not to say that you're a young pup and your views don't matter, but I'm just saying I'm drawing from a lot of different experiences across a lot of different things. Yeah, and it was really difficult for me to put this all into one sentence or one paragraph. So this is what I did today, and I was like, you know what, this is what I've been trying to say, and now I can say it. So the Xbox One will be a console that in 10 years, when the master servers go offline, that will take our games with them. You are no longer buying a game when you buy something on the Xbox One. You are buying a license to enjoy a title for a predetermined window that has been set by another company. This is the first console to do that ever. Every other console, you buy a game, you own the game, except if you're buying a digital game, of course. So regardless on your thoughts of the used game market, whether you use it or not, this should be a very specific thing that you think about before you think about buying this console. The fact that you are not buying a video game anymore. You are buying a ticket to an experience. Mm-hmm. You don't own a game. You don't own anything. You own the console and you get tickets to experience something. That is a huge, huge step away from anything that the industry has ever done, and is very, very scary from a gamer standpoint. From someone that has boxes of NES games, Super Nintendo games, Game Boy Advance. I have shelves of PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. Like, I like to have stuff so that I can go back and play it. You won't be able to do that with this new console. You buy a game, or you buy a license to play a title for I guess a predetermined period of time, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right. And if you think that can't happen, know that it already did, because when Microsoft shut off the main servers for the original Xbox, all of those games went with them. The thing that really, kind of stands out to me, and we'll get into the article here in a few seconds, but last week when we talked about this, and I tried to remain optimistic, and I know, and again, I'm going to say that Lloyd was also optimistic as well. It's not that he's like a pessimist, but I think he did have a little bit more of the insight to see how this was going to happen. And I just, maybe because I'm a big fan of the original the 360 here, I couldn't get my head around it. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to be that guy that said, we can't, it can't get any worse. It can't get any worse. And then it did. And it's like, it really shocked the hell out of me. I was completely, I know that you were probably like, oh yeah, I saw that coming.
Well, totally.
For me, totally. I was blown away by this statement last night.
As I said, I'm a guy, and not to steal Jeff Canada's statement or phrase that he uses all the time, but I love loving things. I love nothing better than to love something and to have joy. Like, I'm a very happy guy. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm not grumpy. I'm a very, very upbeat guy. But I know Microsoft. I've been around Microsoft forever, from the Windows 3.1 days, and kind of know what they're doing. I used to be a member of TechNet. I actually am a member of TechNet right now, but I used to be, way back in the day, a member of TechNet, and be invited to Microsoft events and see kind of the arrogance that they have as a company. See what's happening with Windows 8. See what happened with Windows Phone 7, where it's like, nope, we're doing it this way, and this is how it is going to be. I I love stuff, and I know that Microsoft doesn't. They love controlling things. They have an idea and they stick to it. And that is not good when their idea is the customers, they don't matter. We're gonna bow down to the publishers because they make the content that we want to sell, and we get a percentage every time something gets sold. So the more things that we sell, the more money we make, and everybody's happy, yay. But they're not even thinking about the consumers, who are the people that put up the money to buy these things. And I'm sure there's going to be we call like the Dude Bros and the Madden fans that are going to go and buy the system so they can play their Call of Duties and their Madden. Sure, that's great. But then there's true gamers, people that love video gaming, people like myself, people my age that have owned gaming from the like kind of the invention of home video game systems, like from the Atari 2600 all the way up. We love that experience. We love buying a game and trading it with friends and things like that. And Microsoft doesn't care about that. They care about money, and all corporations care about money. But I think Nintendo cares about things a little bit different than a Microsoft does.
I
than
think Nintendo
a Sony
gives
does.
way more of a shit about games and the gamer experience than any other of the companies out there. They've been in it for games. Like, yeah, they love money. Obviously, they're pissed off when they don't make any, but they're making games because games are fun, and you can see that every day.
Totally.
Microsoft, I totally agree with you, man. They are just. And here's where things change. This is the point in time where we would talk for years. This console generation has been probably one of the best ever because of how much different stuff has come out and how they've utilized technology. But we would talk about they're putting it started with the DLC, right? They're like, oh, the day one DLC is now, I didn't buy a complete game on, people complain about that. And it was like, that's not really all that bad. This isn't really all that bad. Different ways to get our money isn't a big deal for me as long as the content is worth it. But now we've come to this watershed moment here where the fact is, you now buy a game that has a timer on it. It has a best before date on it. Yeah. And whether that date is a decade from now or not is irrelevant. Yeah. That means that when that timer is up, that game is no longer yours. That game has now that's money that you've thrown away, And one of the great things about everything prior to this new console generation that's coming out, I can go back and buy games on the original Xbox. I can play games that are 2 and sometimes even 3 decades old with no problem. Yep. But now they're saying no. And that's bullshit.
Yeah. Do you remember when would this have been? This would have been probably 8-9 years ago, maybe around that time. It was right around when DVDs were first hitting the market. And there was this company called Xvid. They still exist. The Xvid video file format still exists. Yep. And their idea for home video was to create a disc that could only be played 3 times. And it physically would stop working after 3 plays because it had a die that would react to the laser light. So what they were saying is that we're going to sell you a movie for $8 to $10, just like you would pay for a rental. And you could buy the movie and you can keep it and you could watch it multiple times. But at the end of the day, of the 3rd play or however many plays it takes, it will basically it was DivX, not Xvid. That's right. Oh, okay. So thanks, Sinister, in the chat room. At the end of the day, after your X number of plays, this disc will be useless. And they thought this was a great idea and that people would jump all over it. Well, no, we're not stupid. If we're going to spend $8 to buy something, we want to keep it. We rent movies because we want to have that experience for a short period of time. But if you're going to go out to a store and buy a physical something, you want to keep it. This happened like 8-10 years ago. Microsoft obviously knows that this happened, and they didn't see the rejection from the market. And they're just like, no, people are going to want to do it. Yeah, it's fine. People are going to want to not buy games anymore. They're going to want to buy an experience. It's going to be great. The world is going to still revolve. And I don't know. I think I don't swear a lot on podcasts because I don't like doing it. I like for my kids to be able to listen to my show.
Yeah.
They can't listen to the show because, Jeff, you have a dirty, dirty mouth.
I do.
But it's bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. If I'm going to spend $60 on something, I want to own it. If I'm going to, like a buddy of mine at work, who is a big Android fan and doesn't understand why I spend money on Apple apps and complains that there's no good games on Android, which is like, well, because you're not buying the games, so there's no good games, duh. But he's like, yeah, well, why do you care about buying a license? I mean, you buy so many iOS games, you can't trade those with friends. And it's like, right, but I'm paying 99 cents or $1.99 or $2.99 or even like $8.99 for some games. I'm not buying a $60 game. I know going in that I'm buying this game and that I'm going to play it and experience it. I'm treating it like more like a rental than an ownership thing. And I even talked about PC gaming, and the reason why I got out of PC gaming was the fact that you would buy a disc and you'd have to type in the license key, which would then only be usable once, and you couldn't take this disc and give it to a friend and trade games anymore. Like, if I'm going to spend X number of dollars on something, I want to own it. I want to be able to do whatever I want with it. You can't do that anymore with the Xbox One, and I think it's bullshit. I totally 100% think it's bullshit, and unless something drastically changes, I'm not going to own this console. This will be the first console since I can't remember when that I don't own. Like, I own an Xbox, I own a Dreamcast, I own a GameCube, I own a PlayStation 2, I own I own everything. Like, I don't own a certain one. I don't have a TurboGrafx 16. I don't have a Neo Geo. There were certain ones that I didn't buy, but I owned pretty much every console because I'm a gamer. I love video games. This is changing it for the worse, and I'm not going to support it. Unless something big happens, I will not be buying an Xbox One, which is going to impact this network. It's going to impact VG podcasts. It's going to impact the show. But I don't know. I don't care. To be honest, I don't care. I don't want to support anything to do with this because this is ruining my passion, my love, my hobby. And Microsoft should be ashamed of themselves for bowing down in front of everybody to basically support the publishers as much as they are, and then coming to us and saying, oh, but we're giving you all these extra features. You can online give a game to a friend. Like, they're treating it like they're giving us like such a huge gift to be able to do all this stuff. It's bullshit. It is bullshit. Microsoft, you should be ashamed of yourselves. I don't ever want to buy a Microsoft product again if this is the way you're going to treat us, the consumers. And you're going to wrap it up in a smokescreen of, we're giving you choice. We're giving you the ability to do other things. You can have all your games online. And if you go to a friend's house, you log into your account, you get all your games. It's wonderful. Well, if I go to a friend's house, I bring my stack of discs and I have all my games as well. Like, it just...
that was easier, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just... I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And I will say I hate this for as long as it takes for Microsoft to listen or for them to fail. Either one, because if PlayStation does this as well, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 4. I don't want to be limited in my purchases. When I spend good money, $60 on a game, I want to be able to take it, trade with friends, keep it forever, play it in 10 years, have the disc that will not stop functioning. Unlike Microsoft that says you're not buying the game, you're buying a method of getting the bits on your hard drive. That is bullshit. That is not what I am going to support. It's just not what I'm going to support here.
Yeah, it's total trash. And the fact that they keep saying, and they've said it a lot, and they've like made very very good effort at saying to us, listen, we're giving you choices on how you can do. The only reason those choices exist is because you took away our other choices.
Yeah.
You had to invent these things to make it a little bit better, you know?
You're not giving us anything. You're taking away and then saying,
and giving us horrible alternatives.
We're being jackasses, but we're going to let you do this. Don't you love us? Love us. Give us money. We love you. Oh no, we don't love you, but you love us. So love us.
Yeah. And in this press release that was yesterday, and I'll really quickly go over what's in it. I'll read the recap for those who don't know. But in the press release, they also made a point of saying, like, listen, for a lot of this used game stuff, it's at the discretion of the publishers. You know, they're like, it's not us. Like, you put that fucking feature in there. You know, you had to do that yourselves.
Here,
so it is your choice.
What I'll do, I gotta read this real quick. Someone put together an image that looks like a Microsoft ad. I'll link to this image and I'll put it in the show notes. And it's an image that's green, just like all the new Microsoft stuff. And it says how Xbox One differs from Xbox 360. You cannot play games unless you connect to the internet once every 24 hours. If you're unable to connect, your games will not function at all. Yes, that includes single-player games. You cannot disconnect the Kinect sensor. You cannot lend games. You cannot rent games. You cannot trade games freely. Only pre-approved retailers can accept your trade-ins. No independent game shops. Since there is less since there is less competition, you'll get less trade-in credit. You cannot sell games freely. In order to sell a game to someone, you must have been friends with them for over 30 days on Xbox Live. The game is then locked to that user forever. They will not be able to sell it afterwards. And basically it's pound no DRM, pound Xbox difference. So someone took that press release that you're going to say and kind of distilled it into these 5 sentences with some other things.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They did have a few pieces of just okay news. They said that, listen, the Kinect is always plugged in, but you can turn it off, and when it's off in the off mode, it's only listening for the phrase Xbox One, which to me,
do you believe that?
Well, to me means if it's only listening for that phrase, doesn't it have to be listening for others to say, no, that's not the phrase I'm listening for?
Yeah, no, it is listening to everything. Like, I mean, that's only.
So it's like, okay, like, thanks.
Do you remember the whole the whole Prism thing that blew up online this week with the U.S. government spying on Google, Skype, Microsoft?
Well, yeah, and they're listening to phone calls and shit. Like, Obama's in a bunch of trouble right now because of it.
Not even the phone calls. This is something different. This isn't the Verizon stuff. This is a program called Prism, which is basically they have direct access to Google, to Skype, to Microsoft, to all these cloud services where they can search for email. They can get contents of email. They can watch someone typing an email, apparently, when you type in on Google. So if they have that power to do it already, they're going to have that for Microsoft. They can they'll be able to remotely turn on the camera and microphone. Like, this is going to happen. They're already doing it in the background. Not to say that the U.S. government is evil, because I don't even want to get into the can of worms, but they're already mining all this data. This is just another way for them to have a pipe into every household in America. And it's just like, how can that not scare people? And
owning this console would make me uncomfortable to be in my own house. I'm not a conspiracy guy.
I was just about to say that. I am not a tinfoil hat wearer. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't panic about privacy, but it
freaks me out.
Having a camera and microphone always pointed at me without a physical light on it. Like people are saying, well, your MacBook has that. Yes, but it also has a green light beside it that is tied into the circuit. There's absolutely no way that through any software, any hardware, any hacking, that you can turn on my camera on my laptop without that green light to go on, because Apple knows that people would be paranoid about that. So to have a camera always facing people, they had to put in that safeguard. So if the green light is on, the camera's on. If the green light's off, there's no way the camera sensor can be active, because it's all part of the same circuit. If they put something like that on Kinect and people were able to take apart the hardware and see that it actually works that way, fine. Yes, if the green light is on, the camera's on, sure, that's one thing. But the fact that it could be on and you don't know, it's worrisome to me.
It is on.
Well,
it really is on.
I have a family. I have kids. I don't want them being potentially watched. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to be a target of interest where people are going to want to break into my Kinect. But the fact that exists is just like, I'm not buying a game system from you anymore. I'm buying a surveillance device that you're collecting data about me on, that you're then going to sell to the highest bidder to then sell me more ads. Like, this is everything wrong with the world right now. Like that type of mentality that we're going to use and abuse the data that we have on people. I don't know. It just, everything about this just stinks. And
it's so bad.
I dislike it.
They also did say that I love this one too. This is like the kind of that's actually kind of cool, is that you can have up to 10 people in your Xbox One family and share all your content amongst them, regardless of which console they're using. That's a really cool feature, but here's where it kind of sucks. It's only cool because all the other shit is taking away all that control. That would be a great selling feature if the Xbox One didn't have all this other shit with it, Yep. If it was the same as this console and just had this other one where you're like, oh yeah, go and share your games and share all your stuff. That's kind of cool. But other than that, that's really kind of just like a superfluous feature that they're like, well, we'll give them something, The thing, there's so much that bugs me about this, the fact that they're so just, totally dug in on this whole thing. They think they're right. They're not willing to address any of the complaints. Here's another thing. I don't know if you heard about this one, Lloyd, but they've canceled their roundtable with the media after their keynote presentation at E3. So
they know
they're gonna,
they
yeah,
know
they
that
know.
that crap
they
is
totally know.
yeah.
And that's such bullshit. They're like, okay, so we're doing some damage control here with this, and just the way it's worded, this horseshit PR talk about all this stuff, and it's like the guy who wrote this or the woman who wrote this has no idea about what we really want to hear, and it's just a bunch of crap to kind of like, well, we did what we had to kind of keep you guys at bay, and now all the questions that we really want answered, because invariably this thing brings out more questions, we won't get answered because they're canceling their roundtable, and you won't be able to ask any of the questions. So we're just going to be left here hanging. In my opinion, previous to E3, and even after E3, there's no reason in my mind to say yes or no to buying a console, right? I think if somebody puts a pre-order down on a console after E3, I think you're taking a mighty big gamble. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think you're taking a mighty big gamble. This is the only time in my entire life paying attention to video games and talking about them that I've been able to say with certainty in my brain, again, opinion certainty, but certainty nonetheless, that buying an Xbox One is a bad idea no matter which way you slice it. It actually makes me feel shitty about owning an Xbox 360. I was doing the mental math today, and games aside, I have owned an Xbox 360 twice. So there's like $500 there, maybe probably closer to $600. I've bought multiple controllers, right? They're $60 a piece. I've bought, my headset, which isn't necessary, but I bought another one. I also have bought other peripherals and stuff for the Xbox. I'm in over $1,000 money that I have given, hard-earned money that I have given to Microsoft and said, you guys have made a good product. Here you go. I feel like an asshole now for spending that money because they are coming back and saying, hey, by the way, thanks a lot for that money. Two things. One, go fuck yourself. Two, can you give me more? And that's what I feel like.
Can we give you less for the same amount of money?
Oh, yeah, can we give you significantly less of a product here because everything is locked off, and it's it boggles the mind how bad this is. And if you had rewound, 6 weeks, before or just after the reveal, right, where everybody's like, this is pretty bad, and I was kind of there thinking that it was bad, but also I was trying to say, like, I wanted to be that person who said, let's wait because I feel like we're being a little bit too quick to judge here. But no, we weren't. We were bang on. It was, you were right, and a lot of people were right. And in fact, you being right 6 weeks ago is a lot better than you being right today. And that is some scary shit. It's so backwards and it's so wrong. And if anybody's out there listening to this saying like, oh, you're putting way too much stock into this, Lloyd's saying for shame, Microsoft. No, they should be ashamed of this because
they're not treating you as consumers.
Choice,
they're not treating you as consumers anymore.
Exactly.
Which is a problem. You're a customer. You deserve some respect, right? And they're not giving you it. They're saying that you are not buying a product anymore. You're buying a license for an experience. And that's how it is. And sure, you're going to have the ability to talk to your machine and make stupid gestures and stuff will happen. And it's going to be awesome. But you're going to be spending all this money and have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. You can't take your games, sell them to friends. Like my buddy is having a yard sale tomorrow. He's selling his Xbox One games, his 360 games, his Wii games, because he's getting out of consoles. He doesn't want his kids to play video games for some strange unknown reason. I don't understand it. But he's selling all that stuff. And it's just like, wow, I could go to his house and I could buy these games. Xbox One, you can't do that anymore. There's no way to go and buy a game like 5 years after it comes out. It's like, oh crap, I remember that game. I want to own it, because you won't be able to do that. I mean, or you can, but you'll probably be paying $25 to activate it because the license has expired or whatever.
They also made a really good point and be like, listen, we do have games that are available digitally, so you can buy old games. But like, have you ever went on the Microsoft Marketplace on your Xbox and looked at games that are 3 years old and they're still $40?
Yeah.
Like, that
exactly.
is mind-blowing. That's not worth that.
No,
it's 4 years old.
What was it? I picked up a game. What is it called? It's the Tetris game on 3DS. It's like Tetris Axis, I think is what it's called. and it is $10. So the game came out in stores at $30. It's available for $20 now because I guess it didn't sell well or it's been out for a while. Even on Nintendo's platform, Nintendo doesn't do sales. Nintendo is crazy about pricing stuff. Like it's there for $10, and that's how it should be. If a game's been out for a year, it shouldn't be $60. It shouldn't be $30. It shouldn't be $20 for some of the games. Even Nintendo's doing it. Nintendo is the last person on the planet, or last corporation on the planet I would expect that to happen. Well, they're doing it. And yeah, like if you want to go buy Halo 4 on Xbox Live right now, you're paying $40 for it. And if you go to stores, it's $40. It's like, well,
and it's still worth that, but it should be lower.
It should be cheaper.
It should be cheaper. You know, like we were talking, I think it was last week.
I guess
about
Halo's
the Legendary Edition. Right?
Halo's a really bad example because that came out this year. Like, I don't even know what games are on Xbox Live anymore.
Well, we the Skyrim Legendary Edition.
Yeah, there you go.
We talked about that last week, and that is far too high. Granted, it's worth every cent of that money you're going to spend on it, but it's just still far too high. and you know, it's just I really can't even believe we're talking about this.
Yeah.
I thought that when people were saying that Durango and Orbis, which were the code names back then when we were talking about it, we're talking a year ago, really, that they were going to have, you know, you won't be able to play used games. I thought that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard because, and we both said it, or maybe I just said it. I think Tom said it as well too. The person who says that we're not doing used games has lost. You've lost the console. And used games aren't all that important to me. They really aren't, but they're important to a lot of people, and they will make purchasing and playing games out of their reach because they're fucking expensive, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, it makes it unfair, and it makes it, you know, another thing is that when the reveal happened, everybody's like, oh, this is just a TV box. Like, where are the games? And I'm like, well, you know, we'll wait till E3. And now that they've come out and dug their heels in this way with this release last night, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so it really is a TV box because we've been so restricted now for how we can play games and when. And, you know, they also said, if you don't have the internet, you know, you can still watch TV and watch movies. Well, thank you very much. I should say, like, what kind of defense is that?
Yeah,
you know?
It's so stupid. And it's
like buying a car and the dealer's like, well, okay, listen, if you you know, if you don't have the keys or whatever, you can still sit in it and listen to the radio. Like, well, fuck off. Like,
I mean, we'll give you the engine later. I mean, but you can sit in it. And you can, the windows, they go up and down. You just push a button, they go up and down. It's great, but you can't go anywhere. And what you said about TV content is exactly what I was saying last week when we got into that huge argument.
Yeah. I didn't want to believe it. I think that's what really was.
Microsoft wants to own the living room with a set-top box. And they're treating games like pay-per-view movies that you rent from your cable provider. You have them for a short period of time, and then they disappear into the ether. These ones last a lot longer, but at one point they will go away. You're not buying anything anymore. It's just, I just can't believe that we're at this point right now. It drives me absolutely insane. Anyway,
isn't it just totally?
Do you want to move on? I'm getting more angry, and it's midnight right now. It's now Saturday, and I don't want to go to bed like pissed off and punching things. So let's go into the other stuff. Which is funny enough, a lot of Microsoft news.
But you know what? Actually, one quick thing before we go. If there's anyone out there who disagrees with what we're saying and is still going to buy one, first of all, I don't think you're a bad person if you want to buy an Xbox One. Totally your choice. I just think it's a bad decision. If you disagree with us and you like the Xbox One still, let us know why, because I'd be really interested to hear the counter argument, because quite frankly, obviously Lloyd and I are on the same side on this one for a change.
Which I never thought you would ever agree with me on this, Jeff, because you're an Xbot.
I am. But
you are
the thing
an Xbox fanboy. You're probably more of an Xbox fanboy than I am a Nintendo fanboy.
I don't have any problem, admitting that the thing has faults. You know, if you wanted me to tell you everything that's wrong with the 360, I could get you a massive list.
Oh, for sure.
Just bonkers.
You're not a blind fanboy. Yeah. You love the console. You love everything about it. You're the exact person that I thought would eat the Xbox One up. It's like, oh, this is great, but.
Oh man, just drove me crazy.
Some of their biggest
fans.
I'd
rather get a PS4. I'd rather turn that money into getting a gaming PC, quite frankly, because with Steam sales and everything, it seems like it's a big benefit to just buy a gaming PC.
I've bought lots of games on Steam, which are essentially what the Xbox is. You don't own the game; you own a license to play it.
Yeah,
I don't think I've paid more than $10 or $15 for one game that I own on Steam.
It's also a lot easier to trust Steam than it is Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot more stuff. They're more beholden to the community around Steam than they are to the publishers, which is great. They kind of buck the trend, and they do like crazy things like 99-cent sales just because. Yeah, it's great. I would support Steam. I like if both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One have this stupid DRM, you lock the game to the console, you can't trade it, can't borrow it to friends. I may just get like a Mac Mini or some other small form factor PC, plug it into my television, and do my gaming on that, and get stuff through Steam.
Yep. And it's not like, I'm going to be walking over to Sony's side and just be like, here's my money, give me my PS4.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to buy either of these, I don't think I'm going to buy the PS4 on launch either. I'm going to wait until it gets good, maybe around February or whatever, when it's got some games and some support, see what people think about it. But I'm definitively saying there's no bloody way that I'm going to get an Xbox One. It just seems like a hunk of garbage to me.
Yeah.
And that's really where I stand. Yeah. And like you said to me, I didn't think I would ever say that.
Yep. I'm kind of flabbergasted and I can almost not speak, but I will because we have 4 more stories we have to get through. So let's do it. So to kind of deflect some of the hate, Microsoft announced a new Halo game this week. It's not what you think. It's not the next Halo installment on the PlayStation 4. I mean the Xbox One. Sorry, I got that confused. I thought maybe they would do the smart thing and not put it on their own console, but no, they will. This is a game called Halo Spartan Assault, and it is coming out to a huge market. Windows 8 PCs, tablets, and phones. So they announced
everybody has a Surface, right?
They essentially announce a mobile game, but they don't put it out on Android or iOS.
Idiots.
Which is they're doing it because they want people to buy Windows 8 PCs. Windows 8 is not doing well for Microsoft.
The game is not going to sell Windows 8 tablets, though.
Yeah. I know.
And it doesn't look like a bad game. I'm sure it's probably going to be okay.
It looks great. It's a top-down shooter, so it's a totally different game in the Halo universe. This is the type of experience I'd love to have with Halo. Mm-hmm. I have Windows 8 on my Mac because I do some PC stuff. I have to know it. I just got a memory stick in the mail, which has a copy of Parallels and a Windows 8 key, so I can actually have Windows 8 running on any machine that I have off of a USB key, which is pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to buy this game. I really would like it, but I'm going to wait to see if it comes on iOS, which it won't. It's going to be $7, and
I can't believe it's moderately priced.
And it's because it's episodic, so it's they're going to be coming out with various versions of it, which is fine. I mean, that's what the mobile space is right now. I don't hate that. $7, I'll pay $7 all day for a really good game. The one weird thing about this is they're trying to do the Mac thing where you buy something once and it's available on everything that you own, except every version of this device, of this game, is going to be a separate download. So if you want to play it on your phone or your tablet, it's going to be 2 separate purchases. They don't have that kind of universal app thing, which kind of makes sense. I mean, if I buy a game on my iPad, I don't automatically get a version that I can play on my Mac through the Mac App Store. But for Microsoft, that is really behind the 8 ball on Windows 8, you think that they would want to do that, where you buy it and it's available on your Windows 8 PC, it's available on your Surface tablet, and it's available on your Windows Phone. They're not there yet, but it looks really good. We'll post a link to the story, of course. It has a great video of what the game looks like. It's a top-down shooter. I mean, it's pretty like crazy.
It actually looks really good.
But unfortunately,
the weird thing is that, like, although you had a really good idea, with there being a cross-platform game, it's easier, I think, for Apple, because once you buy an iPhone, you're probably a lot more likely to go and buy a Mac and then maybe buy an iPad because the jumps are easier. Mm-hmm. But if you're, buying a Windows Phone, I think it's a lot less likely that you're also going to buy a Surface and then go out and buy a Windows.
Do people buy Windows phones? Is that
they do?
Is that something that happens? So,
I don't think they're all that bad, but they're no iPhone for sure.
I don't like the user interface on a Windows Phone.
The tiles seem like they're going to really bog down your hardware after a while.
It's just I don't like the vocabulary that they use to give information out. Like, just that. Mm-hmm. It's weird. It's weird to me. I like iOS. I like Android. I just don't like Windows Phone. I even liked BlackBerry. Some of the newer BlackBerry stuff was kind of nice, but Windows Phone I just don't get for whatever reason. Maybe it's because I support Windows Phone 6.5 devices at work, and they're just the worst pieces of garbage ever. So maybe I'm kind of biased there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it looks like a really good game. Unfortunately, I don't think it's something that I will own because the only time that I boot up Windows 8 is to play SimCity. And then I shut it down and then don't look at my
servers
Windows
on that,
anymore.
by the way? Have they improved?
Oh yeah, it's fine now.
Oh, that's good.
I'm waiting for the Mac version to come out, so I don't even have to boot into Windows to play it. But that's been delayed. It was supposed to be out in July. Now it looks, or June, I think, end of June. Now it's like the end of August or something. So
I wonder why. I think they had a few problems they needed to solve first.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's Halo Spartan Assault, $7 coming to Windows 8 this summer, and looks interesting. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be something I will pick up. Maybe I'll boot Windows 8 to play this game because it does look pretty. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. This is a story that you put in. I haven't read this, and I'm a little bit skeptical. But
now, I also wanted to say before I read this story that these are allegations, and quite frankly, they come from the site NeoGAF, which means that this is most likely not true. But
I don't know about
also,
that.
when I think about
NeoGAF has all sorts of insiders that post stuff on there. Like there's been so much great news that's been broken on NeoGAF. A lot of crap as well, but there's a lot of good. I wouldn't automatically assume that if it's on NeoGAF, it's crap. But this one feels okay, kind of weird.
The only reason I put this on here is because you remember when we were just talking a few minutes ago about how I wanted to be the guy who's like, you know what, I don't think they would do that, or that doesn't sound. Now that all this stuff has come into the light and they're digging their heels in, this doesn't seem all that far off to me. So again, I'll say allegations, not confirmed in any way, shape, or form, but the allegations are that apparently Microsoft is paying a lot of third-party publishers so that they won't show off their PlayStation 4 games at E3 2013.
You know,
that's what they're saying.
That doesn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me at all now.
It wouldn't surprise me. I don't say that doesn't surprise me because it's not. It's not guaranteed that this is true. It's an allegation.
I don't want to give it any more clout than that. I just wanted to say that this is something that's also out there in the ether, and a lot of people on Reddit today were also saying that that there's been a lot of Microsoft guys here that are purposefully making accounts and putting nice comments on otherwise unruly threads and stuff. I don't really put a lot of faith into that kind of stuff because Reddit's a pit, and NeoGAF is kind of a pit as well. But like you said, they do have the inside track on a lot of stuff. So quite frankly, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it became true. It would not surprise me at all because of all the shit that we've talked about in the last 20, 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, I fully understand that. And it wouldn't surprise me. Microsoft already pays companies for exclusivity for DLC. Like COD map packs come first on Microsoft, not because the console's better, not because anything else, other than Microsoft threw a big fat money hat to get exclusivity for a small period of time. It wouldn't surprise me if to make things bigger for Microsoft that they would say, okay, we'll give you X number of dollars if you just show your game running on Microsoft hardware. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Apparently, Jeff Keighley, he works for what channel now?
I guess Spike? He works for Spike.
It's Spike, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, Spike is showing the Xbox press conference, not showing the Sony press conference live, but they are streaming it online. Makes me wonder, well, did Microsoft pay for exclusivity about televised press conference stuff?
Maybe. I mean, Spike did also stream, they also showed live on TV their stream from the Xbox One reveal.
Yeah, they had it there. But last year, I believe Spike had all of the main press conferences streamed live.
It was still in the time of G4, so I never watched it on there. But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Spike is a big video. Spike is actually a completely useless channel unless you want to see,
People get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, like that's on the channel.
Yeah, it's like YouTube from 10 years ago.
But they do have the Video Game Awards, which is also bullshit as well too. It's a stupid show. But they do have a big kind of contingent into the game. Jeff Keighley has his own show on there. Jeff Keighley also does a lot of work for game trailers as well too. So he has a show called The Bonus Round, by the way.
Yep.
Which started only a few months before I named the show The Bonus Stage. Son of a bitch.
There's been many bonus stages.
Yeah, I'm sure. Very ubiquitous name.
But yeah, like so all this stuff wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that's marketing. It's not evil. It's just the way the game is played. So I hope it comes out and it's either proven to be true or not true. But that will probably never ever happen. All right, moving on. This came out this week, which I guess is another kind of diffusing the hate thing.
It is a little bit, yeah.
They announced that Fable Anniversary Edition will be coming to Xbox 360 this holiday season. So this is going to be an HD remake because we need more of those of the original Fable. It'll be on the 360 this holiday season. It's going to have achievements. It's going to be great because Fable 1 was a really great game. The graphics look way, way better. If you look at the screenshots that are in this Polygon article that I'm going to link up, it looks so nice compared to the old version. I don't know if this is a way to kind of diffuse the fact that maybe Fable 4 isn't going to be coming out on the Xbox One at launch, or who knows. But this was announced kind of around all of the other craziness that was surrounding Microsoft. So it seems almost like a timed announcement that wasn't big enough to have to save for E3. This was something they could just throw out to kind of, I don't know, appease the masses, I guess.
I really like the original Fable. I think it's the best of the trilogy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it. I might even pick this one up to replay it in a higher resolution because I love all the Fable games. They're all flawed for certain ways, but
yeah, that's true.
but yeah, Fable 1 was a lot of fun.
I'm sure if you went and because the Fable is an Xbox original that's available for digital download, I got to imagine it's $30 friggin' still. More than half a decade old. But one of the things that I think kind of held Fable back as being a really great series, only the third one was a piece of garbage. The second one was a really good game, but the thing that held it back of it being better than the first one is that damn Peter Molyneux would just tease you with, he's like, oh yeah, it's going to be this and it's going to be that. And it was never really any of those things. And although it was an improvement over the first one, there was so much stuff that he told you was going to be in it
That's
that
Peter
wasn't.
Molyneux. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Even back all the way to like that God game, Black and White.
Yeah.
You were going to be able to control the weather in real life and teleport to the past. Like there's all these grand promises that he does. That's Peter Molyneux. That's why he's so damn charming. That and his great English voice.
Yeah, I feel like in every game that Peter Molyneux's ever made, you'd open up the case and inside, instead of the instruction manual, there'd be a handwritten letter that said, by the way, a lot of the stuff I said is going to be in this game is not. I'm sorry.
But enjoy this fresh piece of turd that I've included instead.
You son of a bitch, you waited to put that on the front.
I bought your poop for the third time. You got me again, Peter Molyneux. Yeah, I love Peter Molyneux. I can listen to that guy read the dictionary. He's just so charming. Stuff he says is just so crazy, but it sounds so intelligent because he's talking.
He's a guy that like you can't really get mad at him for promising so much stuff because he's so energized about the video game industry. He's in it for the best reasons.
And I'm sure that when he set out to make the game, all of that stuff was gonna be in it. It just it didn't make it for whatever reason.
They didn't have enough time, or just they couldn't figure it out, or something. So.
Exactly.
We love you, Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, he's awesome, Sir Peter Molyneux. Actually,
you should follow Peter Molyneux.
Molyneux is great.
He's so great. Better. I'm surprised at how many of those ideas that he has are actually good.
They are really good.
There was one that he said that I'm just like, man, that's a fantastic idea. It was you start the video game as a child and your controller rumbles with your heartbeat, and it's perpetual. It keeps going every time your heart beats. Then when you die, it just stops. And like that would be so friggin' jarring when you died and your heartbeat stopped and your controller stopped vibrating.
You would basically destroy the world with all of the batteries you'd be throwing into landfills from playing that game.
Rechargeables.
Even then.
That's true. Yeah, you'd be using so much juice.
All right. Last but not least, this one is pretty horrible. Zynga announced this week that they've laid off 18% reduction of their staff. So if you look at the numbers that they've let out in the past, it looks like 520 people at Zynga got fired. They closed 2 offices, including the OMG Pop guys that they bought for like $200 million a while ago, which didn't really do anything after that because I guess Zynga is such a schizophrenic company to work for. Horrible. But it just shows that this is a company that is not not adjusting for the time. They made Facebook games, and then when Facebook games started trending down and mobile games started trending up, they didn't really make mobile games. They just said, no, we're going to double down on awesome looking Facebook games that will get people over here with Flash, because all the major mobile devices play Flash now. Even Android phones don't play Flash unless you add the Flash player to your Android phones. Yeah, it's terrible. All like that's 500 people that lost their job that were basically making games, although they were working in like the Satan of game development houses, which is just like iteration and figuring out ways to extract even more money from people's pockets. But they're making games. I really hope that all these people can go on and find a job in another game development studio and make stuff that doesn't suck the soul out of everybody that plays it. So
you're really right about Zynga's business model. They're a company that got really lucky in the beginning with a couple of really hit Facebook games, and
that
people
were
paying
copies.
for them.
That were copies.
Yeah, they were copies. Yeah,
Farmville
absolutely.
was a copy. And then someone else made a game that was like Farmville, and then Zynga sued them and won. It's like, but Farmville's a copy. What's that?
That was so bizarre that they won. But I guess they just had so much money behind them at that time they could fight it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But the fact is, Zynga has stuck to their guns, and instead of making stuff new, they figured that people would always be interested in this. And quite frankly, I think the fad of just shoveling in hundreds of dollars to these freemium games didn't pan out for long term. It's started to come down a lot, and people are having to figure out different ways of trying to get that 99-cent purchase in-app stuff, and it's not working out. And obviously Zynga they said in the article that it's going to save them about $80 million a year laying off these employees, which is ludicrous. I don't think it's just the employees. They've also made some other pretty drastic changes as well too, but I wouldn't feel bad if Zynga went under, because quite frankly they're just a blight on the industry. But they're people that work there, and not all of them are bad people. They're the people who are like, oh, look at that game, that's doing good, let's get that. Fuck that guy. But the guy who's working there like 18 hours a day trying to make a game because he loves it, I feel bad for them.
I do. Like, Zynga's definitely kind of a soulless corporation of video game. In the video game industry. I've read so many articles about Zynga. I was originally actually starting a podcast. We were calling it Zingaville. But then we thought that we were going to get sued, so we stopped that idea. But it was going to be talking about like Facebook games, all the Zynga games. And then I read more and saw the updates, and I read an article about how they were developing an algorithm on a money extraction algorithm. Essentially was basically the amount of time that they should be spending on digital assets, the costs that they should be charging, or the price that they should be charging. So figuring out the cost of what it makes, what it takes to make this thing, the price that they should sell it for, the frequency that they should put these items in the game to equal like the most amount of money coming in at all times. So, and if you were a programmer working on Farmville at the time, you had to make X number of dollars from your item that you made. Otherwise you would get fired. So if you were making a cow that had purple spots, if no one wanted that cow that had purple spots that they were paying real money for, and you screwed up a couple times and you threw off this algorithm, you would get fired. And I was just like, how can this happen where your sole existence is to extract as much money from people's pockets? Like that is like drug dealing. That is just so horrible. And the more that I read into the company, I didn't really want to do a show about it, which is probably good, because Facebook games shortly after just started to not do so well because everybody hated getting spammed by all their Facebook followers, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I quit all my Facebook games.
Help me harvest this radish. Go to hell.
Yeah. And I was one of those guys, because I was trying to do it as much as possible. I was trying to get into the games, experience as much as I could, so I could talk about it. And
I never played any of them. Any of them. Yeah,
it was fun for a while. I mean, whatever. But yeah, I read a lot of stuff about the company. I'm just like, wow, I don't like this. So I stopped playing the games, and I stopped like planning the show that I was going to do on social games, and probably a good thing, because Facebook games kind of died after that. So I saw things in the future, Jeff. And
I'm sure our top story of next week is going to be Microsoft buys Zynga, thinks it's the best company ever.
Exactly. Do you know what else I see in the future, Jeff?
What?
An end to the show for this week.
Oh, this was a marathon one.
That
It only says an hour 44 minutes on mine, but I also dropped the call, so I'm probably missing a good 30 minutes of time.
We're over 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we started about 10 after 10, and now it's 20 after 12. So yeah, 2 and a bit hours. I wanted to do the show in like an hour. I wanted to try to see if we could get the bonus stage into an hour. Yeah, it didn't happen at all.
I like to talk, man. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not really sorry because I like doing longer shows. But if you are listening and you don't like these really long shows, you don't like to have to drive across the country to listen to it fully, let us know. Because if that's the case, then I certainly am not opposed to cutting it down in any way.
But Jeff, you understand that if they didn't like the longer shows, they wouldn't have made it to the 2 hour and 10 minute mark
Yeah,
to say, I am going to send them. This should be something we do at the start of the show. Maybe next week we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right. So that's going to about do it for this episode of the bonus stage. We love hearing from you guys. We love getting feedback from you. VGpodcast.com. You can click contact us. You can email us, vgpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line, which is 505 VG Podcasts. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff for E3 next week on the network, on the VG Podcast Network, across all the different shows that we do here. So you will get a lot of podcasts. Hopefully you enjoy it. Definitely let us know what you think. I've been getting a lot of feedback across all the other shows. I think for the last Nintendo Pulse, I had 3 pieces of feedback to read out or play. We'd love to get some of that stuff on the bonus stage as well.
For sure.
Definitely send in your thoughts and criticisms and Microsoft hate or whatever you have, and we'll see what we can do about playing it in future episodes of the podcast. All right, well, I told you guys how to get in contact with us. I told you about what we're going to be doing next week. The only thing that's left to do is say, see you guys later. 2 days when everything kicks off, we will be here to talk about all the great things to do with E3. So take it easy, guys, and we'll talk to you in a few days' time.
Later. It'll be exciting. See ya.
Later. Oh, what? Oh, come on. Why is this not
Let's
working?
get started.